When you've lost 14 straight games, you look everywhere for answers. Sometimes, to go forwards, you have to look backwards. Texas Southern knows every good football team must have a good quarterback and a strong leader. So TSU has turned to former quarterback Johnny Cole to change its future. But with tradition comes expectation, and only winning will fulfill those expectations. ESPNU College Football Kickoff Weekend continues as Texas Southern faces off against Prairie View A&M in the Labor Day Classic. A year ago, Prairie View A&M posted its first winning season since 1976. Can the Panthers continue? As this new season begins, Texas Southern is looking to reverse the trend. Will it work out well for the Tigers? It's the Labor Day Classic here in Houston, Texas. Hi, everyone. Welcome inside Reliance Stadium along with Eddie Robinson Jr. I'm Dwayne Ballin. Now, rivalry week is a couple of months away, but these two are 40 minutes apart, and they're getting at it right off the bat.
Well, you have no margin for error when you're playing your rival in your first game. The fans expect a win right off the bat. But more importantly, it's also the first SWAC game, so you have to play well because it's your first conference game. You want to start off with a win.
In our Star Watch, we take a look at one of the best defensive players in the country for Prairie View A&M.
Yeah, Zach East. This guy was an All-American on 6 different All-American teams last year. Also the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. This guy can really play football. He's a very dominating player's position, and you'll see him all over the field today.
And for Texas Southern, maybe the most anticipated arrival of any player this season, Bobby Reed.
Yeah, Bobby Reed prepped here in high school in Houston, so the fans really know about him. You look at his numbers at 2006 at Oklahoma State, very dominating quarterback in the Big 12. You say, what happened between 07 and now 08? We'll see if he can return back to that form in 06 and have a very dominating performance for an 0-11 Texas Southern team.
Well, Republican nominee John McCain surprised everyone by picking Alaska Governor Sarah Palin to be his running mate. What's going to be the big surprise here tonight?
Well, I think the big surprise here would be Mark Spivey. He's a quarterback for Prairie View A&M, 5-1 as a starter last year. He may not be the most talented quarterback on the field, but he may have the best performance of a quarterback today.
He is seasoned, too. Labor Day Classic, 24th edition, is coming up with kickoff when we return on ESPNU.
The Southwestern Athletic Conference is dedicated to offering challenging educational opportunities to talented students and future leaders from all across the world. Founded in 1920, the SWAC and its 10-member institution.
Welcome back to Reliance Stadium. Many eyes are on the Texas Southern Tigers and how they will fare. Bobby Reed spent 2 tumultuous seasons at Oklahoma State. How will he do now that he is transformed to the SWAC and he has 1 season left? On the other side of the field, Henry Frazier III in his 5th season as head coach of Prairie View A&M. We mentioned that 7-3 record last year, but this is all new for the Panthers. They had been losing for a while, and he finally has it going. And he told us in a conversation earlier, he expects to succeed this year. Johnny Cole returning to familiar environs, legendary quarterback at Texas Southern, and he has a lot of work cut out for him, Eddie.
Well, this is his dream job. So when you come back to a place where you're familiar with, the people know you, you expect to win. He has a lot of expectations on himself, so it's something that he's going to enjoy to do. I mean, he turned around Lane College in a short period of time. I think he's the guy that can come in here and get this Texas Southern program back to where all of the fans expect it to be.
These schools have met quite a few times. This is the tail of the tape, as it were. Southern leads the overall series 40-21-1, won 15 straight from 89 to 2003, but Prairie View has won 3 of the last 5, and last season a 34-14 victory here at Reliance Stadium. Prairie View A&M won the toss, has deferred. Texas Southern will receive. DeMarcus Washington back to receive it. Kicking away for Prairie View A&M as we are set to get underway in the Labor Day Classic. Ball fielded at the 10. And he will be brought down just beyond the 10-yard line. By Michael Jason. And in comes Bobby Reed. What is going through this young man's mind? Here's a guy who started off as one of the best players, most heralded players in the country at Oklahoma State, and now he has to refurbish his image and really get it going in one season. He's a senior.
Well, he has 11 chances to show everyone that he's the type of quarterback that he feels like he can be, and this is his first snap right here.
1st and 10 for Reed and the Tigers. He goes to the air, quick swing pass. A bit of trickery. It is picked off, and that was a mistake that may very well cost the Tigers. Early on, Johnny Cole came out, pulled one out of his back pocket, and it didn't work out.
Well, I can understand trying to make a big splash on your first play, but when you're backed up in your own red zone area on your 10-yard line, it's not a good place to try here. Bobby Reed, I mean, it works originally. I think it would have been a great bubble screen play, but you're trying to go back to the quarterback and give Prairie View credit for just staying at home and playing smart football and making a big play, and now it's going to cost Texas Southern with the field position.
So Marcus Spivey now comes out with the Prairie View offense in a golden position to be in early on in the game within point-blank range after the first misfire by Texas Southern offense. Over the right side and into the end zone is Calvin Harris for the first 6 points of the game.
And not the way you want to start if you're Texas Southern, because that's just a gift right there. I mean, give Prairie View's offense credit for coming in and running the touchdown, but I think that's one that Johnny Coles would want to have back, making that call on your own 10-yard line and putting your defense in a very bad position on their 5-yard line to start off their first drive.
Henry Frazier has to be very happy. Talk about efficiency.
Well, it's a gift. Basically what it is, you got a free one.
The extra point is good. And the Panthers strike quick. They lead it 7-0 with some help from the Tigers.
Approaching target now. Sensors detect a more advanced flight technology ahead. Aircraft in sight. Origin unknown. The swarm is coming.
Havoc Stinger, the biomechanical flying RC from Airhogs. With bright glowing eyes.
216-2573.
Johnny Cole, tough way to begin when you're trying to break a 14-game overall losing streak.
Well, if you look at his keys to victories, one thing he said was no turnovers, which they did. He said minimize the mistakes, and that was a mistake. And he also said don't outcoach myself. Don't try to put my offense in a bad position or make him do something out of the ordinary. So I think now he just had to settle down and get back to some basic plays and just let his guys play football. He has a lot of talent on his team. Just let him play. You don't have to do anything big right off the bat.
Pedro Ventura is ready to kick off to William Osborne and DeMarcus Washington, numbers 2 and 10 respectively, and White awaiting the kick. And it's Osborne fielding the kickoff straight up the middle. Tries to break outside and gets hammered right down around the 27-yard line. Michael Jason on the tackle. Now, right now, Bobby Reed had, as we said, a very difficult exit from Oklahoma State. So his first snap since he left there, that happens. What do you say to him if you're Johnny Cole as he walks back out?
Well, if I'm Johnny Cole, I tell Bobby Reed it's my fault. I shouldn't have called that play. And then Bobby Reed didn't throw the interception. He was just trying to make the catch as the ball was thrown back to him. So now it's just, hey, just go out there and play football.
1st and 10 for the Tigers. Out of the shotgun. Reed looking to the air, has to run, lets it go under pressure, and it's incomplete. Texas Southern offensive line. These are the gentlemen who shall protect Mr. Reed this evening. Aaron DeLone is the anchor along that front line. He is a senior from Corona, California. Backs and receivers. Look out for Brian Haith. He's a returning all-conference performer. He will probably be the favorite target for Bobby Reed. 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. They trail Prairie View A&M early on, 7-0. Reed looking to pass once again. Flag down on the play. Looking for William Osborne, but we'll wait to hear from referee Harold Cooper.
And Mr. Cooper told us he wasn't going to throw many flags today, and now in the first quarter we see one pretty early.
Holding on the offense, number 78 in the white. Kenyon Curlin from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
It's Austin Ebo, a freshman from Kingwood, Texas. And when you play freshmen in their first game, things like that are going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But that's a competition penalty. That's a guy that's just trying to make a play and trying to be a little too aggressive. So you can somewhat live with those. We just have to try and minimize it.
So it's 2nd and 20 for the Texas Southern Tigers, who find themselves in an early hole. Bobby Reed, handoff. Breaks away from one and gets his way back down to the 25. Here's Prairie View A&M's defensive line and defensive backers. These are the gentlemen who will try and stop the Texas Southern offense tonight. It's Deion Jones and Jamal Laban. Laban had the interception on that opening play. Youngster from Houston, Texas. And the all-conference performer right in the middle, Zachary East. We're calling him Zachary because his mother said, please call him Zachary. So it is Zachary now. In the backfield is Jason Fobbs leading the way. Reed rolling out, puts it away, decides to run and gets hammered just beyond the 26-yard line. And guess who?
Yeah, and if you want to get a welcome to the SWAC conference, like you said, Zachary, per instructions from his mother, is the guy to give you that welcome to Bobby Reed. I mean, Zachary, this guy was on All-American team, on 6 different All-American teams last year in Defensive Player of the Year, and he runs sideline to sideline. He's a physical, very dominating player. So if Bobby Reed wants to run, he's going to have to make Zachary East miss.
6'2", 250-pound senior. We will talk about him throughout the broadcast this evening, the telecast. His story is very interesting and at points inspirational. Back to punt for Texas Southern is Stefan Solomon. And he has room around the left side. Anthony Whedon, he's a speedster. He can burn. Punt of 41 yards. Whedon's return is 9. And on comes the Prairie View offense for the first time in this game, despite having 7 points.
Yeah, a great time. If you come on the field and you haven't had a snap yet, but you're up 7-0, that's always a very good thing. Of course, we'll see from Prairie View's offensive leader, and that'll be Mr. Spivey, Mark Spivey, a guy who was 5-1 as a starter last year.
Marcus Spivey, redshirt senior, 6'5", 180 pounds. From Houston's Westfield, was promoted to starter in the middle of the 07 season and promptly went 5-1. And Coach Frazier was amazed at how brilliant he looked after he put him in. 1st and 10 for the Panthers, leading 7-0. Out of the shotgun. Harris picks up a couple on that play. Prairie View A&M's offensive line. Stoney Owens right in the middle, along with Jesse Jones. They are charged with protecting Mr. Spivey. Back to the receivers. Whedon and Townsend are burners, so you will look for Spivey to get the ball to him. Spivey, by the way, had an outstanding preseason. 2nd and 5. At the 48-yard line. Panthers out of the shotgun. There's a catch. Ball was already on the ground. That's not a fumble.
Yeah, whistle blew it dead, so even if it was, it would be a dead play.
1 yard gain to Sean Stevens. Okay, Mr. Official Robinson, let's just make sure.
Yeah, once that elbow goes down, that's pretty much it. Another part of the body means that it's pretty much a dead play, but it's a pretty close call. I think the referees got it right.
Good defensive job by Justin Chapman of Texas Southern. 3rd and 5 for the Panthers, who lead it 7-0 here at Reliance Stadium, the 24th annual Labor Day Classic. Out of the shotgun, Reed has a receiver open, and he picks up the first down. Defensively, Texas Southern up front. David Knighton is big and difficult to handle at 6 feet, 290. He may require a double team because he's so quick. The linebackers are led by Cameron Beck and William Parker. Secondary, Darian Wilkins getting the start over DeMarcus Washington. 1st and 10. Panthers keep it on the ground. Running road. Big pickup for Donald Babers, who at 5'9" and 175 pounds can break out. A 12-yard pickup for the junior.
Then look at Babers here. I mean, does a good job of having vision. Look at that backside cutback, and then he makes a guy miss right there. Every great back, you have to make one of them miss. And Babers was a guy who rushed for 482 yards, led the team last year. And he's a scat back. He's not a big guy who can knock people over, but he can definitely make them miss.
So that sets up first down. Babers also had 5 touchdowns last year to lead the team. Marcus Spivey out of the shotgun. And within striking distance once again. Looking for a man just beyond the outreach of his intended receiver. Gabriel Oseze Ediaki. And I just butchered his name. I have to correct that.
We'll have all telecasts because I think Spivey's going to throw to him quite a bit. That was Zachary Logan on the coverage. He was a guy who transferred just this fall, graduated from Purdue, was a track guy, had 1 more year of eligibility left in football, and now he's playing with Texas Southern, and they have quite a few transfers on this Texas Southern team.
That's one way to go about trying to rebuild quickly is you welcome all comers. You become the Statue of Liberty of the SWAC. Panthers keep it on the ground. Flag on the play. Donald Babers on the carry. Once again, we'll hear from our good friend Harold Cooper, who did tell us, you know, you will not hear from me tonight.
Well, he didn't say anything. He just gave us a signal. There you have it.
Holding called against the Panthers.
Holding on the offense. Number 87, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
Junior tight end Marlon Allen is the culprit on that. Doesn't please Henry Frazier, who's feeling pretty good, though, about this season and this year.
I mean, these guys expect to win. And Prairie View hadn't had a winning season for a very long time since last year. So these guys, for the first time, have come in here, and they really expect to do some good things and actually compete for a conference title.
2nd and 17 from the 34 of Texas Southern. Spivey tucks it under and decides to run. Gets up to just beyond the original line of scrimmage. Spivey is one of the players that have been very impressive in preseason. Those numbers last year, very steady in that 7-3 season. But Frazier said he clearly is the leader on this field. He will get in someone's face and correct a mistake when it's necessary.
Yeah, and pretty much down the stretch, when they beat Jackson State and Alabama A&M last year, Jackson State went on to win the conference title. He was the guy who made all of the good decisions and kept the offense in good position.
3rd and 10, out of the gun. Spivey has time, has a man open, but he underthrows him. Kind of skipped it as though it were on a pond.
I don't know if the receiver was expecting not to get the ball so soon. Just seemed like a miscommunication, because had the receiver looked a little bit earlier, he could have made an adjustment and still made the catch here. You can see the pressure coming on Spivey. He stands there and makes a throw, and I don't know if the receiver really had a focus on the ball soon enough in order to adjust to try and make the catch. But he was definitely a wide open receiver.
He was looking for Brandon Bell. So on 4th and 10, is this the call you make? You come out and you go for it? Coach Robinson?
I think so. This early in the game, you can't punt, and you know your field goal kicker, can't kick the ball this far, so you still try it on 4th down and see what happens.
Spivey with 4 wide outs. Has a man open once again. He has it at the 5. Touchdown, Prairie View A&M. 27 yards. For Gabriel Osaze Ediaye.
I told you you're going to learn that name before the day's over, because he's the guy that looked good in training camp. Here is just a miscommunication. Texas Southern doesn't have a deep safety. A good job of catching the ball and Spivey putting it over the defender's head. But last year, the Panthers were first in the conference on 4th down conversion, so maybe they feel comfortable going for it on 4th downs.
Extra point is up and good, and the Panthers now lead it 14-0. Things are going quite well for Henry Frazier III and his Prairie View A&M Panthers. They put up 7 more here in Houston. College football continues on ESPNU Saturday night as the Florida A&M Rattlers take on the defending MEAC champion Delaware State Hornets. College football primetime on ESPNU Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. 8 plays, 56 yards, 351, a 27-yard pass from Spivey to Osezi Adias. And the Prairie View A&M Panthers are looking pretty good, leading 14-0. Pedro Ventura set to kick off once again to William Osborne and DeMarcus Washington. Once again, it's Osborne who will field the kickoff past the 20, up the sideline. Gets away from a couple before he is knocked down out of bounds at the 34-yard line. A 34-yard return of the Ventura kick. Right now, things are looking quite good for the Prairie View A&M Panthers, who had that wonderful season last year after losing. And their defense is now on the field. This defense was impressive, #1 in scoring defense last year in the SWAC. And Bobby Reed has some work to do. The transfer from Oklahoma State off to a shaky start here in the Labor Day Classic. They'll keep it on the ground. Marcus Wright, the freshman, breaks a few tackles, and he picks up a first down on the ground, 17-yard run.
That's a good change of pace for Texas Southern. And this is the type of thing that you need to do. If you're down 14-0, you just have to get back to basic football. I mean, look at the offensive line. They're just moving people out of the way. Big Charles Smith gets a good dominating block. And look at the freshman, Marcus Wright, a guy from Dayton, Ohio. Coach Cole said he wanted to recruit someone from his hometown and get him down in Texas and get some more guys like that down here.
From midfield, they keep it on the ground. This time, very little up the middle over the right side, as Wright was quickly met by a host of blue-purple jerseys. Leading the way was Ronaldo Revolta, number 55, a 3-yard pickup.
You talk about Bobby Reed, the talented quarterback for Texas Southern. You know, some of the things he talked about at Oklahoma State was that he just got nervous before games, had butterflies, took him a time to relax and get into the rhythm. So maybe a couple of good running plays here, 1 or 2 good short pass completions. He can get into the flow of the game and then just let his talent come out and just play football.
2nd and 7. Reed swing pass out. Flag on the play. Not too much happening there, as Prairie View's Panthers really swung defensively and were able to shut Osborne down before he could really get going. But again, there's a marker down on the field. Holding is the call against the Tigers. For the Tigers, we mentioned at the top of the telecast that they brought in Johnny Cole to reverse this. 14 straight games they've lost.
Holding. Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. From the end of the run, number 83, White.
That's Ricky Sanders. The name may sound familiar. His father starred in the NFL at Washington as a receiver.
Yeah, and this guy here, I mean, he has to start catching passes. I don't think his dad was very good at blocking, but he was a great pass receiver.
His dad was one of the Smurfs, was he not? Or was he the Fun Bunch?
You know, they had so many different packages back then. That's more your era than mine.
Okay, I'll take that hit. A deference to my age, okay. Reed looking to the air, under pressure, and he's going down. Ball is down on the ground, but it is not ruled a fumble. Sack is collected by Gary Hicks, 12-yard loss.
These guys can get after it on defense. I mean, here's a guy, you had Gary Hicks, man. He had a lot of good plays last year, 4.5 speed. He's more of a prototype linebacker. Zachary East gets a lot of the attention, but this guy here can pure out play football. Big guy, he's around 6 feet, 235 pounds. Just looks like he can play some football. 61 tackles, 2nd on the team a year ago, and that puts Texas Southern in a hole at 3rd and 28. They're coming at him again. He gets it off this time. Nice screen. This could develop into a big play, but Prairie View is able to stop right before he can turn it into a first down, but it was a pretty good recovery for Texas Southern. Yeah, excellent recovery. Great call on 3rd and very long. You just want to get a nice, safe play, settle down your quarterback. Look at this guy, Marcus Wright. This guy's a true freshman coming out of Dayton, Ohio, and I like the burst that he shows. He goes north and south. He doesn't try to do anything tricky. He's just gaining yards and making some good plays once he touches the football.
5'10", 210-pound freshman from Dayton's Dunbar. So that brings on the kicking unit for Texas Southern. Anthony Wheaton back to receive the punt. Stefan Solomon standing at his own 37-yard line. Wobbly punt. Wheaton will let it bounce. And the Panthers, after that 28-yard punt, will take over just inside their 35-yard line when we return to the Labor Day Classic on ESPNU.
7-6. Don't delay.
We're in Houston at Reliance Stadium, the 24th annual Labor Day Classic shootout between Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern, a couple of rivals who live 40 minutes apart in Houston, Texas. Joining Eddie Robinson Jr., I'm Dwayne Ballin, and our entire ESPNU crew. We are glad you decided to join us this evening. It's 14-0 early on. The Prairie View A&M Panthers, who are looking to begin what they hope will be their second straight winning season. Those have been few and far between at Prairie View A&M until recently. Now, 1st and 10 for Prairie View wearing the purple, Texas Southern wearing the white. Marcus Spivey directing the offense for the Panthers. The senior has been very efficient and very good so far. Keep it on the ground. Nice bit of work by Donald Bavers, the junior, 5'9", 170 pounds. What we have noticed so far, Eddie, is that as we take a look at Marcus Spivey, he has picked up blitz as well, and that's something Texas Southern is trying to do, but it's not working.
Well, you got to look at this guy, Mark Spivey. He's a 6-year player. You say, how do you get 6 years? He's supposed to play 4. He had 2 medical red shirts, but he's been around the program for a very long time. Very smart guy, so he knows what to do when he sees those blitzes coming. They feel like he can always get them in a very positive play, and that's what he's been doing so far tonight.
7-yard run by Babers sets up 2nd and 3. This time, the Tigers defensively are there, and that may very well be a loss on the play.
Yeah, big number 90, Matthew Valmore. He just had a big knock him back. That's when you actually stop that running back and put him back in the direction he came. And this guy is supposed to be very good against the run, as you can see right there. He just had a very physical play. So now it leaves a 3rd and short for Prairie View A&M.
They'll give him a pickup of 2. And 4:33 remaining in the first quarter for Henry Frazier III. He wants to call a timeout, call his Panthers over. Something's not right on the field, at least not to his liking. And he wants to talk about it. So he takes his first timeout, 14-0. For up-to-the-minute news for everything that is college sports, log on to ESPNU.com. This online service is a gateway to the best in college sports content from ESPN, combining the latest news, scores, features, video highlights, podcasts, and much more. If you do not have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com. Type in your zip code at the top of the page or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Log on to ESPNU.com today. Texas Southern's defensive unit trying to get some things going and settle down a bit. A lot of nerves over there, a lot of new players over there, because we talked about Johnny Cole coming in his first year, and what he's doing is he brought in a lot of transfers, trying to get it going right away.
Well, yeah, Johnny Cole said he doesn't have the patience to lose for a couple years trying to build the program. So you look at the people he's brought in, they're bringing in guys to win. And that guy right there is, of course, L.C. Coles, which is Johnny's older brother, who was the head coach at Tennessee State and also Alabama State. Very successful coach in his own right. So this whole coaching staff with L.C. and Johnny, you know, a lot of good coaches there on the sideline for Texas Southern.
3rd and 1. Panthers keep it on the ground. First down and more. For Calvin Harris, pickup of 11.
3rd and 1, this is where you just get physical. You just want to go straight downhill, and you have big Herman Bray leading the way, number 44, the fullback. This guy at 5'10", 270 was one of the surprises in camp that Coach Frazier pointed out. A good physical guy, and when you get in those 3rd and short situations, just go basic football and run right downhill.
Marcus Spivey and the Panthers on the march as we get to the 4-minute mark of the first quarter here in the Labor Day Classic in Houston, Texas. Panthers leading at 14-0. Blitz coming. Spivey picks it up, drops it off. Nicely done. And Harris picks up 5 yards.
Well, LC Coles, I mean, this guy has a defensive background. He's been very successful, always has run his own defense as far as he calls the defense, even when he's been the head coach. And he's going to bring pressure. Just a good job here. Look at the fall down screen. I really like that. That's Calvin Harris. That's when you actually fall down, let the blitzer go by, and you get back up and make the catch. So a very well-designed play by Prairie View to combat the blitzes that LC Coles is trying to start early in this game.
2nd and 5 for the Panthers. Keep it on the ground once again. Over the left side is Donald Babers, and he is finally hauled down by Zachary Logan. Pickup of 10 yards.
I tell you, Babers just looked like he's the fastest guy on the field right now. He can make everyone miss. He has some very quick feet, gets in and out of his cuts, and he's always going downhill. So for a little guy, he runs with a lot of authority.
Had a breakout game last season against Mississippi Valley State on October 27th, 215 yards and a couple of touchdowns. First down for Babers and the Panthers. They'll keep it on the ground.
Texas Southern at this point in the game, from a defensive standpoint, someone has to stand up and make a play. I mean, you're down 14-0. 7 of those points really wasn't the defense fault, but you can't go down 21-0 here in the first quarter. So you have to get a guy to come up here and make a play, cause a fumble, get a turnover. Something has to go well.
Pretty good numbers he's tracking so far. If that holds, he'll have a big night. Zachary Logan, the one that made the tackle, he's made the last 2 for Texas Southern. He's the only one making plays right now. 2nd and 8 for the Panthers. Boy, Calvin Harris just doesn't want to go down. He's gang tackled, and there is a flag on the play. There may very well be some unsportsmanlike conduct. A bit of joy in a game like this.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration, and guys, when you start running the football, that's when it starts getting testy out there.
Go against the Tigers.
Unsportsmanlike, charge to number 73 in the white, 15 yards to the end of the run, first down.
Well, that's the last thing Johnny Cole wants to see. He wants enthusiasm and he wants intensity, but he doesn't want it to go overboard.
Coach Frazier talked about just being very aggressive on both sides of the ball. And quite frankly, he said what we want to do is just go out there and be the most aggressive and the most physical team on the football field. And so far, they're bringing it to Texas Southern. They're really just teeing off and running downhill and just not coming with any exotic plays, just playing tough football.
So the Panthers have worked their way down inside the 35-yard line. Michael Jason, freshman on the carry. And there is another flag on the play, and this is not good, this pattern that is developing.
Face mask, defense, number 38, 15 yards, on to the end of the run, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Cameron Beck, the junior linebacker from Sacramento, California, committed the infraction, and they are helping the Panthers a lot.
Well, yeah, and those are the type of penalties that you can't have. I mean, the face mask penalties, the unsportsmanlike conduct. When a guy is making a good, hard, aggressive play and something happens, that's one thing. But those penalties are totally uncalled for.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Panthers, who lead at 14-0. Dancing around down inside, not getting very much at all. Is Babers. Leading the way was Matthew Valmore on the tackle, the big senior from Houston's Jesse Jones High School.
Yeah, Valmore is one of those guys that's very tough to run against. You notice with Texas Southern, they don't play left and right. They play a boundary and field defense. So Valmore is one of those guys who always goes to the short side of the field. So, I mean, he's going to be in the action a pretty good bit of the time.
10th play of this drive. It's gone 70 yards, taken 5 minutes, 14 seconds. They're looking to punch it into the end zone. Hurtling near the end zone and in. Donald Babers.
Wow, this guy has a lot of athletic ability. Keep in mind, he's 5'9" and 170 pounds. He looks more like a kicker, but he's actually a running back. And you gotta like his toughness just to go over the top and put that ball on top of the pylon to get the score.
And he took on Antonio Rose, who gave him a big whack. He gets to the pylon.
Yeah, once that ball touches the pylon, it's a done deal. It's a touchdown. Doesn't matter what happens after that.
And the extra point is up and good from Pedro Ventura. So the Panthers continue to roll along. They're leading at 21-0 with 10 seconds remaining here in the opening quarter of the Labor Day Classic. Eddie, if you saw a guy up in the air like this from your position, you would make sure he wouldn't get in, right?
You try to take a shot on him. It was a great defensive play, but I just think the effort by Babers pretty much set that play apart because he got hit, but he just had the presence of mind to stick the ball out onto the pylon and still get the touchdown. So you can see Coach Frazier really just getting the guys hyped up. With the first 3 possessions, you have a 3-yard touchdown, and of course the touchdown pass from Spivey. Now you finish up with a long drive that was just pretty much running the ball down the football field. Of course, a couple penalties on Texas Southern with another touchdown finished off by Babers. Great start for the Prairie View A&M Panthers.
Babers with 8 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. And we are not done with the first quarter. This is not the way Johnny Cole envisioned his return and his debut at his alma mater. But, you know, he has a lot of work to do. This team, 0-11 last year, almost last in almost every major category in the SWAC. So it's a patchwork unit right now. Ventura's kickoff. Fielded by DeMarcus Washington. Has a bit of room up the middle. And is finally knocked down by Avarian Richardson at the 29-yard line. 3 seconds remaining, so there is time for one more play. Bobby Reed comes back out, transfer from Oklahoma State. We've talked about him early and often. Things not going very well for him in his SWAC debut.
Just has to settle down and complete a couple passes. There's not a 21-point play in football. Just relax, get a couple first downs, and things will take care of themselves. Probably
going to put it up a lot now. You're down 21-0 in the first quarter, so we'll see his arm and see how well it's looking. First and 10 for the Tigers from the 29-yard line. Keep it on the ground, and the Panthers defense says you're going nowhere. They are playing so well and so intense. Wouldn't allow Marcus Wright to go anywhere. The Panthers, it's their tune that's playing right now. They lead the Labor Day Classic 21-0. Second quarter when we return. On to you.
One 1-800-575-4105. That's 1-800-575-4105. Call now.
Prairie View A&M leading Texas Southern 21-0 in the Labor Day Classic here at Reliance Stadium. Normally, it's a packed house here for this classic, but Hurricane Gustav is bearing down in the Gulf Coast and is headed possibly towards New Orleans, possibly towards here. So a lot of the players down here, a lot of the people that would attend have been affected by this. Evacuation procedures are underway. No one wants to see a repeat of Katrina. So, folks, you can understand if there are other things, rightfully so, on the minds of a number of people who would normally be involved in this game. Texas Southern, the pass is completed for the Tigers. That's out to Lucas Caparelli, and that's what Bobby Reed needs, a couple of completed passes to get it going.
Yeah, he definitely needs to complete passes, but one thing he doesn't need is this shot he takes from his blind side. You can tell here the big hit coming in by Gary Hicks. But, hey, Bobby Reed, one thing they said, he wasn't a very tough guy at quarterback, so he'll get a chance to take a couple shots, feel like he's been in the football game, and just standing there and complete passes and kind of silence the critics.
7-yard pickup on the play. Reed once again to the air. That one probably could have been caught, maybe a little high, but the tight end Roland Robbins should have had it anyway.
Yeah, but he saw Zachary East, so he felt him coming from the inside, and he brings a lot of heat when he hits you, so I can understand why Roland Robbins may not have held on to that one.
Coach Frazier told us that Zachary East is in a very nasty disposition when he arrives at the ball carrier. Said he reminded him of Dick Butkus, the great Chicago Bears linebacker, who just really means no one well when he's on the field.
And if you watch him play, he's that type of player. He hits everyone as hard as he can. He just plays with a lot of attitude, has a lot of ability, but also the guy just wants to really be physical and dominate his opponent. You like that type of player playing middle linebacker.
So Stephon Solomon on the punt, but there are whistles and flags.
The lay of the game, charge to the offense, number 14, 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
Johnny Cole wondering about the adage, when it rains, it pours.
Well, he said this was his dream job, but it's not starting off as his dream. But hey, some things take time. You can't just come out there and win football games with these many new players right off the bat.
More like a nightmare right now. Solomon gets that one off. There's contact, and there are flags down by Solomon. Whedon trying to return it on the other end, but this may very well be coming back. Roughing the kicker, the initial call against the Panthers. Harold Cooper heading up a SWAT crew, includes Sanford Jackson, Mark Bailey, Raymond Horn, Jerry Banks, B.J. Hicks, and Kevin Mitchell. He talks over what to do with Bobby Reed.
Well, I guess I don't know if it's maybe not enough for a first down, or what's the discussion here. It's 4th and 11 as they kicked it, so we'll see what type of options Texas Southern has. Maybe they can make a free kick.
Johnny Cole's wondering if he just didn't earn a free shot.
Running into the kicker on the defense, 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
Yeah, so that's just a running into the kicker and not actual roughing the kicker, which would have been the 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, it appeared to be John Barnes, the junior from Bay City, Texas, who actually committed the foul. So once again, Solomon is back to punt, and Whedon is back to receive for Prairie View A&M. We're in Houston at Reliant Stadium, the Labor Day Classic 24th edition, 62nd overall meeting between these two fine institutions. High snap, Solomon gets it away. Whedon backpedals a bit, calling for a fair catch. Ball goes out of bounds. See the future stars of football today when ESPNU delivers high school football action Friday night, and the Armwood Hawks take on the Plant Panthers in a Sunshine State showdown. Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Nike on ESPNU Friday night at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. That 30-yard punt by Solomon will give Prairie View A&M the ball at its on 37-yard line. Marcus Spivey and this offense pretty much doing what it wanted to do so far in this game.
Well, the last drive, Prairie View A&M, 11 runs, no passes, a couple penalties by Texas Southern, and they finish off the touchdown with the Babers touchdown run. So when you start getting to play physical football where you're just running and dominating your opponent, you better watch out if you're Texas Southern.
Spivey back out of the shotgun. 1st and 10. And off to Babers. He gets his way for a couple, maybe one.
Look at this Texas Southern defense. Even though they're down 21-0, that last drive, just pretty much a couple penalties. They really helped out Prairie View, but they've been playing pretty tough. I mean, L.C. Coles is a very aggressive defensive coordinator. He's been bringing pressure, been trying to get hits on Spivey, but Spivey is just such a seasoned quarterback. You may have to just play some zone and just try to keep guys in front of you and let Prairie View make the mistakes. But they're playing physical and they're playing hard.
No pickup on the play. 2nd and 10. This time, it's the speedster Whedon. And he basically runs out of bounds. He's chased out. That was Babers. Check that. But the pursuit of the Texas Southern defense is impressive. L.C. Coles, maybe he's figured something out after a painful learning process in the first quarter.
Well, L.C. Coles, I mean, this guy, if you watch him at practice, I mean, he's a very get-in-your-face type coach. I mean, look at his career numbers at Tennessee State. They were the Ohio Valley Conference champs there at Alabama State. They went on to win the West 2 times and competed there. So everywhere he's been a winner, and that's the type of guy you want who's your defensive coordinator.
3rd and 11. 2 of 3 on 3rd down conversion so far. The Panthers flag down, man open, has the ball, has room to run. It looks pretty, but it may come back. That's Brandon Bell, but hang on just a moment. That 60-yard pickup may be nullified.
Offside on the defense. Number 44, that penalty declined. First down.
Well, that worked out quite well then for Frazier, not for Johnny Cole.
Look at the pressure. So you have a lot of man coverage on the outside. Brandon Bell just runs the square and route. Bam, makes the first guy miss, and then it's off to the races. The little guy gets moving straight up the field. Some blocking downfield by Joe Townsend, his buddy at the wide receiver position, in great position for Prairie View A&M offense once again.
Bell last season, 4.7 yards average, no touchdowns. Sure, he is intent on changing that this year. Mabry over the right side. He's stopped by Cameron Beck.
You can see why Coach Frazier is so excited about this Prairie View A&M team. Of course, the last drive, they come out 11 straight running plays. They're able to just dominate the line of scrimmage with Baber scoring on the running touchdown. Now you come back with a spread offense. You have Spivey, who's able to throw the ball down the field and make big plays, a 50-yard reception. When you have that type of balance on offense, you can run and throw. It's very hard for a defense to stop you.
2nd and 9 for the Panthers, who lead it 21-0 here in the second quarter from Houston's Reliance Stadium, a Labor Day Classic on ESPNU. Panthers looking for more. Very good coverage. That was a very difficult pass to make, but the coverage by Wilkins may have been too good because there are flags on the play. Darian Wilkins, a freshman, 5'9", 175 pounds from Dallas. Not much there, but a lot of heart.
And he wasn't supposed to start today, so this is the guy that Prairie View is choosing to go after. He got the call because
Pass
someone else.
On the defense, on number 10, it'll be a spot foul. Ball is placed at the start of the foul. First time.
Well, they're calling DeMarcus Washington, but we're pretty sure it was Wilkins. Look at the top of your screen.
And that's the same play that was very effective before for Brandon Bell, just a square in. From a corner position, you have to stay on the inside leverage. And once he gets to the inside, then it's more prone for you to have that pass interference call.
Flags once again on the field.
False start. False start on number 67. Be a 5-yard penalty. Remaining first down.
James Deacle, sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, 6'2", 275 pounds. Spivey's numbers so far, very solid. 90 yards, 1 touchdown, few mistakes, very few.
6-year player. I mean, this guy has been around the program, very efficient quarterback.
1st and goal from the 15-yard line. Texas Southern's defense quickly, led by Matthew Valmore, is trying to get his teammates going as they close in quickly.
Valmore has been the standout for this Texas Southern defense. Here's the guy that's come up from a defensive end position, defensive tackle, and has made quite a few stops. He had a tackle for loss and a couple other plays, so he has to get his compadres to play to his level of intensity here and try to stop this Prairie View A&M offensive attack.
Panthers, 2nd and goal. Spivey out of the shotgun. 10:53 remaining in the second quarter here in Houston. Spivey, time to throw, has a man open. Down to the 6-yard line. Tackle made by Curtis Thomas.
I think for Texas Southern, what's going to have to happen on the back end, the defensive backs, which they feel like is the strength of this team, they're going to have to play a little bit tighter coverage because they're bringing the pressure, but before the pressure can actually get to Spivey, he's able to complete these short dink and dunk passes. So if you can step up your man coverage and make him hold the ball just a little bit longer, it'll give that pressure and that blitz package a chance to get to him and get some hits on the quarterback.
This drive started back on Prairie View A&M's 37-yard line 6 plays later. They have 3rd and goal over the left side. Touchdown, Prairie View A&M. Donald Babers, his 2nd of the evening.
And Babers knows how to find the pylon. This is the 2nd time when he uses that speed to bounce to the outside, and you think he can't get it into the end zone. In some kind of way, he just puts the ball on top of the pylon. Look at here, you think he's stuck on the inside, but then he bounces. Look at that speed. He can run sideways as fast as he can run straight ahead and just knows how to smell the end zone and understands the rules that if I get the ball on top of the pylon, it's a touchdown.
Pedro Ventura on for the extra point. He's been good on everyone so far. That continues. Babers, a couple of scores. He knows where that pylon is. 28-0 here in Houston.
The South
Thursday, September 23rd, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Frazier has to be very happy with the play of number 13. His Prairie View A&M Panthers are leading at 28-0. Donald Babers, very solid evening so far.
Yeah, Babers, look at here, man. He's just a little guy, 5'9", 170 pounds, but has the quickness and the toughness to get outside. And I like this. He knows how to finish. 11 carries with 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, that's a great performance by anyone here. Once again, puts that ball on top of the pylon for his 2nd score. Gives Prairie View a 28-0 commanding lead in the 2nd quarter.
From Houston's Westbrook High School, 5'9", 170-pound junior. And if he goes well this year, Spivey runs the offense with efficiency, then they will have a very successful year. And Coach Frazier told us that's what they expect. And that's a new thing at Prairie View A&M as the kickoff sails out of bounds and will be kicking again.
That's pretty. That kickoff out of bounds. Everything else has been pretty much perfect by the Panthers.
Legal procedure, charge to the kicking team, elect to take the 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
You know, believe it or not, Coach Frazier told us earlier in the week in a conversation that this was a high anxiety game for him because it's a rivalry game. He didn't want to play it early in the season, first game of the year, but can't be that much anxiety down there right now.
I think both coaches pretty much share that same sentiment. When you're playing your rival the first game of the year, and also it's a conference game, which is another big thing, is that you want to win right off the back. And look at the fans who have come out, even with the weather conditions and everything else, to support and see this game. So you want to have a good performance, but you don't get a preseason, you don't get a practice or anything like that. It's a ready, set, go. You have to be ready to perform in the very first game of the year.
Frazier's done a good job in reinstilling winning. Prairie View A&M, his 5th season, he's 18-24. Bowie State grad, 93 out of there. 7 seasons overall as a coach, 44-48, but he is teaching these young men how to win consistently. Ventura's 2nd kickoff is fielded at the 9-yard line and down the sideline to the 45-yard line. Flies Osborne, and David Jackson, number 49 of Prairie View A&M, may have gotten an elbow in there.
Yeah, he did at the end, but man, they had some big hits on this return. And Osborne is a guy who was a dangerous return man last year, and they need that type of spark. They need a big play just to get this offense going, to get this crowd back into the game, and get Bobby Reed going so they can have something positive before we go into halftime and get this goose egg off of the scoreboard.
Bobby Reed directing the offense after that 38-yard return. 1st and 10. Wow. Very nice hit on Marcus Wright. We are in Houston, Texas at Reliance Stadium. The Labor Day Classic, Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern, heated rivals in the SWAC, just 30 minutes apart, and they are starting off the season against each other. Texas Southern in white, led by Bobby Reed, the former Oklahoma State quarterback. He has one season to get it done this year. Prairie View A&M wearing purple, along with Eddie Robinson Jr., our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballin. 2nd and 9 for Texas Southern. Reed under pressure, trying to get away from a defender. Now that was poised, and that was an excellent catch by Ricky Sanders.
And of course, and that's what you need to see from Bobby Reed. I mean, this guy is an athlete. You know, Johnny Coles feels like he's one of the best athletes in the conference, 4.5 speed, a big guy, has the stature of a Vince Young, but has to have the poise and the presence to make these kind of plays. Great job by Ricky Sanders, only a freshman, getting the toes in bounds. I guess his dad taught him that playing catch in the backyard when he was a kid.
The youngster 10-yard pickup played at Lamar High School in Houston. Quite a few Houston natives in this game. 1st and 10. Reed out of the shotgun. Has Sanders once again.
You talk about a lot of Houston natives in this game, and that's kind of as it should be. You look at all of the football talent in the state of Texas, you expect that Texas Southern and Prairie View would get their share. And here, Bobby Reed, a guy who also prepped in Houston, went away to the Big 12, and now is coming back home for his final season, wants to make something big happen here.
Flags on the play. Wright breaks free, but let's hang on and hear what our good friend Harold Cooper has to say.
I'm going to send Harold Cooper some hot tea at halftime because his throat has to be hurting all these penalties he's calling so far.
It would really mean a lot also for Texas Southern to get something on the board.
Sideline interferes on Prairie View. It'll be 5 yards onto the end of the run. First down.
Henry Frazier trying to figure out exactly what happened. We're not precisely sure. Someone from the Prairie View A&M sideline, much to the consternation of Coach Frazier, did something they weren't supposed to do.
Well, that's one of the things they were talking about. They're not going to give a warning. It's just going to be a penalty when they don't have the get back coach get everyone back.
So 1st and 10 for the Southern Tigers. Texas Southern, you're trying to get something going. A flag in the backfield as Bobby Reed keeps the ball and is chased out of bounds. We may be looking at a hold or an illegal motion. That's going to go against the Tigers. So when they get it going, they start taking steps backwards. And that's part of, reconditioning and teaching guys to win. But also, you've got an aggregation of players that have been playing in a lot of different places. And they're trying to come together as one unit.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it more better. I mean, it's just a lot of different philosophies of coaching.
Illegal motion. Illegal motion. Charge to number 23 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And that's Marcus Wright, the freshman who's looked pretty good tonight so far.
Yeah, I would like to see him get a couple more touches. When he's touched the ball, he's done some good things. So one of the guys they need to feature a little bit more.
So it's 1st and 15 from the 24-yard line for Texas Southern. Under pressure and going down is Bobby Reed, as about 50,000 purple and blue jerseys swarm under him. Leading the way was Quentin Spears, the defensive end, the sophomore from Montgomery.
Yeah, I mean, this Prairie View A&M defense last year, they were #1 in the SWAC in scoring. And look at Zachary East just busted up through the middle. I mean, you can't block this guy. Of course, the guys coming around the end also, Dalvin Nettles. I mean, these guys are play pretty good defense down in Prairie View. And so that's one thing that Bobby Reed has to realize, that this may be a smaller division, but you're probably looking at one of the best defenses in the conference.
2nd and 21 after the loss. Loss of 6 on that one. Reed going to the air, has a man, and he has a first down, and the Southern Tigers of Texas Southern are knocking on the door. Osborne with the completion. 27-yard pickup.
And tip you had to Texas Southern. They could finish off this drive and get a score after being down 28-0 and all the negative things that happened. Look at Bobby Reed standing here and deliver this ball to William Osborne. Small guy makes the catch in traffic and tries to get into the end zone.
Let's remember, on 1st down and goal, Wright tried to punch it over the right side, but Zachary East and a number of Panthers were there to greet him.
Texas Southern going with a little sugar huddle, no huddle, where they're not getting into the full flow of it just to move things fast.
There's a surge between the lines on 2nd and goal. this rugby?
Looks like it's the 2 yards in the cloud of dust.
The scrum in rugby. At the bottom of that pile is Bobby Reed, and that's not really where you want your quarterback.
Not if you can help it. There's better ways to get into the end zone, but I know what they were trying to do, just if you can get everyone from Prairie View unsettled and just get a quick quarterback sneak for the touchdown.
Things going much better on this drive than they have in the previous 4. And let's remember that Bobby Reed in his sophomore season at Oklahoma State threw for over 2,000 yards. He was being heralded as one of the best young quarterbacks in the major college level in the country. And things just didn't work out for him at Oklahoma State. And Johnny Cole said, come here. I coached DeBarris Jackson. He's with Minnesota now in the NFL. I can get you going right. College football continues on ESPNU Saturday night as the Florida A&M Rattlers take on the defending MEAC champion Delaware State Hornets. College football primetime on ESPNU Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Reed.
That's going to be a good game. That FAMU at Delaware State. You have Delaware State with Al Levine. They were 8-0 in the MEAC last year and defended MEAC champion, of course. FAMU has the former Hampton University coach Joe Taylor, who had a lot of good years up at Hampton. So that should be a great matchup for a Thursday night game.
And Hampton, of course, is playing in the SWAC MEAC Challenge tomorrow.
Yeah, now the interesting thing about that FAMU at Delaware State game is Hampton is actually playing down in Orlando, then have to travel to Delaware State on the Thursday night game. Delaware State has the first week off, and they'll be their first game of the year, so they'll have a big advantage playing that home game to open the season.
Texas Southern is 0 for 3 so far on third down, 3rd and goal. And the Tigers get into the end zone. They do. Bobby Reed gets them on the board. That will make Johnny Cole feel a little better.
I think it makes you feel a lot better because when your team is down 28-0, I mean, it's a character test right off the back. The first game of the year, you're playing in front of your home fans. They're expecting this big offensive explosion, and you have 0 points on the board, and now you're able to come back and have a big drive by your leader, Bobby Reed.
For the first time, we'll see Robert Hirsch come on for the extra point for Texas Southern. It's good. And Bobby Reed gets the Texas Southern Tigers on the board here at the Labor Day Classic. Feels good to be playing again, huh, big fella?
Jack Lee.
Bobby Reed just scored the first touchdown of the season for Texas Southern's Tigers. In his former life, he was at Oklahoma State as a Cowboy, running, passing, on his way to apparent glory. Mike Gundy, his former coach, the well-documented tirade. Things began to fall apart for Reed in Stillwater, and he landed here with Johnny Cole. And you think, Eddie Robinson Jr., it's a good thing that he's here.
Very good thing, because Johnny Cole is a hometown guy. He was a quarterback, and he knows how to work with a guy like Bobby Reed. And this guy just had a bad year in 07, and things didn't work right in Oklahoma State, but it doesn't mean he's not a great football player still. So they're expecting very good things for him this year.
I think it was good for him to score the way he scored because questions, frankly, came up about toughness at Oklahoma State.
And he
took
the
last thing you want to hear.
Right, he took a big hit earlier on the drive also, so to come back and have that play was really big.
Kickoff is fielded by Whedon. He's up the middle, has room, gets out across the 40-yard line. And for the first time, the Panthers will try to answer a score from the Texas Southern Tigers.
Absolutely. But you talk about the toughness. I mean, that's one of those things. It's a tough man sport. So it really doesn't matter if you're the quarterback or the kicker or the water boy. You don't want to be considered a not tough guy when you're playing football. And so everyone on your team, the players, the fans, the coaches, they're kind of looking at you and say, hey, what kind of toughness does this guy have? Because that's what they've been talking about before. So I think he showed something to me on that drive after he took a big hit, had some adversity, to come back, have a couple good throws, and then have the quarterback sneak for the touchdown.
And quickly, you think he can have a big year this year, right?
I think he will. He'll just have to settle down and play football.
His counterpart, Marcus Spivey, leading the Prairie View A&M offense. There are whistles on the field. So far, it's been all Prairie View A&M.
Charge the timeout to the white team.
I guess that delayed discussion in the huddle that we just saw, Texas Southern thought it might get away with it.
Yeah, but just finishing up on Bobby Reed. I mean, this guy. I mean, he has the talent. The ability is there. I mean, Johnny Coles just kind of raves over and talks about, if you look at the definition of a pocket passer and the guy that's throwing the ball with the form and the technique, and he has all of the Vince Young type ability, the 4.5 speed, looks good and everything like that, but he just has to get the it that Vince Young has, which is just the intangibles, just to make plays and make things happen outside of the X's and O's, just be a consistent, tough football player. Besides the drawing it up on the chalkboard, you have to go out there and do it.
His last 2 seasons at Oklahoma State, that sophomore season was just amazing. Everyone was talking about him. Davey O'Brien Award, he was on everyone's radar that season. And then problems came, the dissolution of the relationship with Mike Gundy, and things just fell apart for him.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but things happen. And I think what you have to realize, hey, that was Oklahoma State. This is now. Don't worry about what happened in the past. I'm a good football player. I'm the same Bobby Reed. Just go out there and have fun and play football. The same game you've been playing since 10 years old. Now they have 50,000 people watching. It's still a football. Throw it. The other guy catch it. It's a touchdown.
Now his counterpart, Marcus Spivey, and the Prairie View A&M Panthers offense on the field with 5:47 remaining in the second quarter here in the Labor Day Classic. Whistles on the field, and there are flags, and there may have been some illegal movement in the backfield for Prairie View A&M.
False start on number 66 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remain first down.
That's Jesse Jones, junior from Houston, Texas. That's not the way you ever want your name called as an offensive lineman. You always hope that if we're talking about you, we're talking about what an outstanding job you've done and what a great student you are.
Absolutely.
You never want mama to hear your name called like that.
Not for that offsides penalty or holding.
So it's 1st and 15 for Prairie View A&M, leading 28-7 over Texas Southern in the Labor Day Classic here at Reliance Stadium. Hope you all are having a nice holiday weekend and being safe. Donald Babers with the carry. And the Texas Southern defensive unit looks a bit sprier now over the last couple of series, wouldn't you say?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you have to get some rest, first of all. I mean, when your offense is going 3 and out and not doing a whole lot, it kind of just wears you out. You're out there for a lot of plays. In Prairie View, they're getting in and out of the huddle fast, and they're running a lot of plays. So you have to get a period to rest and recover so you can play good, hard, aggressive defense.
Pickup of 3, 2nd and 12 for the Panthers at their own 39-yard line. Out of the shotgun is Spivey. Babers, right side, has running room, but could not quite get away from Dejon Fullman, who comes up with the tackle, a gain of 6.
Yeah, and Babers, he's just made a living being able to turn the corner against Prairie View, but here, against Texas Southern, but here they do a good job of getting him back in. I mean, if you can get him to turn back in, you have 10 more guys ready to hit him. But if you let him turn that corner, there's no one there.
Prairie View so far 4 of 5 on 3rd downs, but that 5th time was a 4th down. They went for it and got it, so they have been able to convert to 1st downs in their drives when they were in position to so far. Spivey going deep. That wouldn't have counted anyway because the receiver was out of bounds and came back in. And now some pressure from the Texas Southern defense is beginning to make a difference. Spivey's a bit upset, frustrated.
Absolutely. You have to get him to move his feet. When he's just sitting back there completing throws. Now, in the NFL, that probably would be a late hit, but here in college, you can get that little extra shove on the quarterback. But you have to let him know that we're around you. You just can't let Spivey sit there and feel like he's at practice and just throwing balls and not getting hit.
First punt of the evening for Prairie View A&M. You see Pedro Ventura, whom we've seen kicking off and kicking extra points. Longest last year, 69, 40.2 average. DeMarcus Washington is back for Texas Southern. The ball will go out of bounds. And the Texas Southern Tigers now with an opportunity to add on to their total. Is the tide shifting slightly here in the Labor Day Classic? We'll find out when we get back.
I'm taking it to the max.
I am taking it to the max.
The solid max.
The max? I'm already there.
Take your car to the max with quality Conoco gasoline. It's specially formulated to help clean fuel injectors in just 5 tanks to help reduce emissions and maximize mileage.
I'm taking it to the max.
I'm taking it to the max. Help maximize your mileage with Conoco. take it to the max.
Approaching target now. Sensors detect a more advanced flight technology ahead. Aircraft in sight. Origin unknown. The swarm is coming.
Havoc Stinger, the biomechanical flying RC from Airhogs. With bright glowing eyes, Stinger dominates the sky day or night. Its unique airframe and forward center of gravity allows Stinger to perform precision maneuvers in any room. You can take Stinger with you and charge it up right from the controller. With advanced Airhogs battery technology, fly Stinger up to 10 minutes on a single charge. And Stinger delivers maximum power. Amp it up and fly to heights of up to 100 feet with the touch of a button. Plus, with the included CG adjusters, you're in control. Set Stinger for fast-forward flight or slow-controlled hover. And the Stinger's 6-point landing gear is the most advanced landing system ever. The Airhog Stinger is 100% safe and the toughest micro-helicopter available. With its glowing compound eyes, Stinger is perfect for exploring all terrains and probing from room to room in any light. From the makers of the original Havoc Heli, with the included 2-channel remote, you can fly 2 helis at the same time and duel with your friends. If it doesn't say Airhogs, then it's not genuine Airhogs quality. On this special TV offer, you get the Airhogs Havoc Stinger with glowing compound eyes, the 2-channel charger controller with digital proportion control, and digital trim adjustment, 2 spare tail rotors, and 3 center of gravity adjusters. All for $29.95. We'll also include the all-new Havoc Stinger training DVD with a special preview of the history of Airhogs. That's the Havoc Stinger plus everything you see here for $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Must be 18 years or older to call. Here's how you can order.
You can call 1-800-216-2573. That's 1-800-216-2573 to order the Havoc Stinger from Airhogs for $29.95 plus $9.99 shipping and handling. You must be 18 or older to call. You can call 1-800-216-2573. That's 1-800-216-2573.
Here in Houston at the Labor Day Classic, Prairie View A&M leading Texas Southern 28-7 with 4:10 remaining in the second quarter. See the future stars of football today when ESPNU delivers high school football action Friday night, and the Armwood Hawks take on the Plant Panthers in the Sunshine State Battle. Both of these teams just outside of Texas, about 10 miles apart, and you know it's going to get ugly. Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Nike on ESPNU Friday night at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to espnu.com. Bands are loosening up. The Marching Storm of Prairie View A&M. We're going to be treated to their show as well as the Ocean of Soul from Texas Southern at halftime. Right now, the Texas Southern Tigers, little pep in their step. They've scored. Their defense has stopped Prairie View A&M. And now Bobby Reed, if he can get it going, we've talked about that talent, a wellspring of talent. If he can get it going, this could be a very interesting balance of the game. 1st and 10 for Reed and the Tigers. Kept it on the ground, up the middle. It's Gerald Mabry on the carry, a 6'3", 280-pound junior. Zachary East on the tackle. Last 5 possessions tonight. So far, it was going pretty well.
Yeah, interception
for Prairie View A&M.
Punt, then finally a touchdown. And Bobby Reed tried to get things going as he did, and that's what they need to do. I mean, just have to settle down and make plays. Realize that you can only score one at a time. So that's what they're going to try to do here. Just try to move the ball down the field and get another score.
2nd and 8. Reed has a man open and overthrows his intended receiver, Brian Haith.
I think some of the ineffectiveness of Bobby Reed is just a matter of getting on the same page with all these receivers. You know, Brian Hayes was a guy who was there last year, had 48 catches and 2 touchdowns, but this is the first real game that he's in with Bobby Reed. So some of it is just the rust and working out the routes and the combinations. But I think as the season goes on, you'll see Bobby Reed really settle into this offense. And Johnny Coles is a guy who knows how to put points on the board. Every school he's coached at, they've scored a lot of points on offense.
An incomplete pass sets up 3rd and 8. Tigers 1 for 4 so far on 3rd down conversions. Reed under pressure, gets it away. It's tipped and very nearly picked off.
Had the open receiver, the tight end, Roland Robbins, was definitely open across the middle for the 1st down. Checking on a replay here, just a good job of Prairie View A&M getting a hand on the ball. That was number 55, Ronaldo Revelta. If not for that tip, that would have been the 1st down for Texas Southern. So give Prairie View credit defensively for making a play, getting their hands on the ball so it doesn't become a completed pass in the first down.
Anthony Weed back at his own 49-yard line, set to receive the punt from Solomon. Low kick. Weed will try to return it. Doesn't get back to midfield. Excellent job by the Texas Southern Tigers special teams. 37-yard punt. Logan leading the way for Texas Southern. Sheridan football poll. Last year, the way things wound up, Tuskegee, what a job down there. Another great team for them. Number 1, Delaware State. Jackson State will be in the challenge tomorrow. MEAC challenge.
Those are the defending champs. Tuskegee, the SIAC champ, and Delaware State and Jackson.
Jackson State expected to win the East and the SWAC this year. Completed pass.
The interesting thing about just that poll, but also the SWAC poll, is Prairie View was picked to finish 3rd in the West behind Southern and Grambling. So it'll be interesting to see how the West title really unfolds, because Prairie View looking very good today. They're returning a number of starters, and very good, talented team, and very well-coached Prairie View Panther team.
Rod Broadway and his Grambling Tigers open up this evening at Nevada. Under pressure and whack. Interception. DeMarcus Washington finally corralled down at the 29-yard line, but the defensive pressure up front for Texas Southern and LC Cole's unit caused that interception.
Absolutely. And LC Cole's kind of got burned by the blitz early on, but here, hey, if you're a blitzing guy, let's just keep rushing with the pressure. You can see the pressure up front by Texas Southern, James Peters, and that causes the interception throw to DeMarcus Washington, and he almost scores this thing. And so that's the big play that Texas Southern's defense has been needed, the turnover. They were last in the turnover margin in the SWAC last year. They get one today, and those type of things really spark your team.
So Bobby Reed back onto the field. He has found the end zone once this evening. Can he do it again? We are at 2:27 in the second quarter of the Labor Day Classic in Houston, Texas, along with Eddie Robinson Jr. I'm Dwayne Ballin. And Texas Southern is looking for more. Reed, play action, has a man open, wide open across the middle. Completed to Lucas Caparelli. That's a first down for the Tigers. Pickup of 17 on the play.
Good play fake up front. Bobby Reed stands in the pocket, delivers it to the open receiver. He's starting to hit his stride.
First down. They go to the ground. Very little doing there. Not even sure he got back to the line of scrimmage. Dalvin Needles leading the way defensively for Prairie View A&M. Redshirt sophomore from Houston's Forest Brook High School. We're inside of 2 minutes here at Reliance Stadium. Bobby Reed and the Texas Southern Tigers trying to add to their total. He's under pressure, and he's going down. For the second time this evening, Gary Hicks comes up with the sack.
Linebacker, very active, had a couple sacks last year.
5'11", 230-pound senior, very active tonight.
You can see he just beats the guy around the end. Who's that trying to block? Big number 6'8", just can't get a hand on him. He just beats him around the corner and gets the sack.
Johnny Cole trying to settle his team down. He's trying to teach these young men also to learn. Because when you go 0-11, as Texas Southern did last year, you have to get inside the head of these players also.
Well, and you know what? And Johnny Coles is a guy who's really just trying to sell this team to the whole Houston and Texas Southern community. He talks about, taking them to church, having a new attitude, just cleaning out the old players, getting the expectations back to where he wants them. He takes them to the children's hospital, makes them wear a shirt and tie, clean shaven. So he's just kind of being the mentor to these guys, just trying to really teach them about life. And that's how you have to start. You have to get them doing the right things off the field. And trust me, it'll transcend to on the field, going to class on time, all those type of things, being respectful in the lunchroom, all those things around campus leads to players who can be productive and play together on the football field.
Produce Lane College's first ever back-to-back winning seasons before arriving here. 1 for 5 so far are the Texas Southern Tigers on 3rd down. They have 16 to go for a first. Reed steps up. He's going to keep it. Gets down to the 20 before he is met by Edward Moore.
Now we have a 4th down play. Well, I guess they're going to go for it as 4th. And
well, you really don't have a choice at this point if you're Johnny Cole.
Down 28-7, I like the call.
Inside of 1 minute remaining. Reed has a man open, but he will not get to the first down. Very alert defensive play on the part of Zachary East. He is everywhere. Yeah. All-star linebacker, senior for Prairie View A&M.
I think I can look at Johnny Cole's face just telling Bobby Reed, hey, it's 4th and 15. And so that when you have to try to go to the deeper receiver, just because the completion at that point doesn't give your guy a chance to make a play and get the first down. So that's just the learning process of Bobby Reed knowing the situation in the game and say, hey, a 5-yard completion at this point in the game doesn't help me.
He's led the SWAC in tackles last year. Look at the average for loss, the numbers for losses, and sacks. He's an incredible story, and we will get into that in the second half, because when he arrived at Prairie View A&M, he had no intention of playing football. Marcus Spivey will take a knee as we begin to wind down time. Henry Frazier just knew that Zachary East was on campus. East had played originally in Hampton, left because he wanted to help his mother, family crisis. He was at a community college, and Frazier found out about it, told the young man, come to Prairie View A&M. Don't even worry about really playing. We'll give you a partial scholarship, show up for practice, but get your life together, get things in order. And it's worked out well. Henry Frazier, Zachary East, and the rest of the Prairie View A&M Panthers will exit at halftime, leading the Labor Day Classic 28-7. Johnny Cole letting Bobby Reed know that all is not lost. They got on the board. They still have 2 quarters of football left to play. His reclamation project at Texas Southern and that program will continue. We're at half of the Labor Day Classic in Houston, Texas. 28-7, Prairie View A&M.
The confidential tax settlement analysis.
1-800-583-6651.
There is nothing quite like an HBCU Classic here on ESPNU. Prairie View A&M, Texas Southern. Panthers leading at 28-7 as we are about to commence the 3rd quarter. But before we do, Eddie Robinson Jr., look back at the first half.
Yeah, I think Mark Spivey, we expected him to come out early and do some good things with the football, as he did. Prairie View went up, had a couple touchdowns early. Here to Gabriel Osazie-Adia. But Bobby Reed, I mean, they had a trouble early, but he came back, had some good completion. Here to Ricky Sweet Feet Sanders over on the sideline to get both of the toes in town, and then he had the rushing touchdown to finally put Texas Southern on the board. They're down 28-7 at the half, but they did get some momentum coming back. And you look at the numbers, Spivey 7 of 11, Bobby Reed 8 of 12, very similar. Spivey actually has 1 interception. So Bobby Reed hasn't really been outplayed from the quarterback position, but as a team, Prairie View has been the more effective team in taking advantage of the Texas Southern mistakes.
And the Panthers will receive the opening kickoff in the second half. They deferred to this point, scored on their first 5 possessions and really set the tone, as you said, and Texas Southern playing catch-up for quite a bit. But the last 5 minutes of that second quarter, the Texas Southern Tigers looked a little bit different, as though they had figured a few things out.
Absolutely.
Kickoff fielded at the 10-yard line. Up the middle goes Anthony Whedon. He gets out to about the 34-yard line. where he is tackled by Joseph Lewis.
Yeah, you talked about the last 5 minutes of that second quarter, and Texas Southern's defense started to play a little better. They started, L.C. Coles, the defensive coordinator, is a pressure-oriented defensive coordinator. He wants to bring pressure and heat on the quarterback. They started to get to Mark Spivey a little bit, actually caused him to throw an interception towards the end of that half. So they have to continue with that pressure. Make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket.
Spivey will come out. Donald Mabry, number 13 in the backfield, had a very productive first half running, and they go to him immediately. Tries to break out to the left side, has running room, avoids a tackler, has a first down, and is finally corralled out of bounds or escorted out of bounds by Curtis Thomas.
A good misdirection play in the spread offense. You fake to the first back and you actually give it to the second back, Babers, who's been carrying the mail today. Look at the blocking on the edge. That's just a great job from the Prairie View receivers blocking to get those extra yards for Babers.
Babers with an 11-yard pickup, setting up a first down for the Panthers. Mark Spivey operating out of the shotgun with two backs. Texas Southern defense was pressed early on by this Prairie View offense. Trying to stretch it out and get around the side. There's running room. And Babers runs out of bounds, but has another first down. So first of all, they're going to have to figure out where number 13 is and what he's doing, a 22-yard pickup.
Yeah, he's just faster than everyone else on the field. I mean, he's a small guy, so you can't really see him behind a big offensive lineman. Then when he turns the corner, he just has the speed to do this type of stuff with the football. And he still has the presence to get out of bounds and not take the big hit if you don't have to. He's still a little guy. He's 5'9", 170.
But with a big heart. He's over 100 yards rushing with that carry for the game. Very nice average, 6.3, couple of scores. Will he get more? 1st and 10 for the Panthers. They're trying to make Babers again. He reverses directions.
Yeah, and Spivey, the quarterback, standing there trying to throw him a block. So Spivey can do it all. And Babers, man, this guy is electric. He's going left and right, just making people miss. Here he starts to the left. Ain't nothing there. I don't like it. I'm going to tap-toe dance, make people miss, get around the corners. Spivey, my quarterback's going to give me a throw, and I'm still going to get out of bounds and not get hit.
He will take a well-deserved breather as he sets up another first down for his Panthers teammates. First down. Spivey looking to the air. Under pressure, steps up. Tracked down and dropped by Parker. William Parker, freshman linebacker from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and Spivey's trying to get cute. He's starting to feel pretty good about himself. He's doing a good job in the pocket, but now you have to get out of there. And from the backside, William Parker gets a big hit on him. Lucky he's able to hold on to that football. Only a freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio. Of course, L.C. Coles, Johnny Coles are from Dayton, Ohio, so they have a lot of connections in that Ohio area, and they still recruit players from that area.
So the loss of 6 sets up 6 and 16 for Prairie View A&M. Opening moments of the third quarter. Panthers leading at 28-7 in the Labor Day Classic. Nice bit of running. There is a flag on the play. On the carry is the talented freshman, Michael Jason.
Holding, number 66, on the offense. With penalized 10 yards from the spot of the foul and replay second down.
That's the second infraction of the evening on young Jesse Jones, 6'1" junior from Houston, Texas. Not supposed to do that in front of the hometown folks.
Not at all, but this offensive line was the only potential weak spot for Prairie View, so they're still trying to get those young players oriented to playing at this level.
Now that's a number that will drive Coach Frazier crazy. The penalty,
Absolutely.
They're losing the battle of the penalties, and that's discipline. So it's 2nd and 24. Spivey has a man open momentarily, but is picked off by DeMarcus Washington. His second interception of the evening. He has running room. He's still on his feet. Eluding tackles like an all-star running back. Washington finally drugged down a touchdown saving tackle, a 58-yard interception and return for DeMarcus Washington. That will put life into the Texas Southern Tigers.
Absolutely. Look at their sideline. They're jumping up and down. And to me, the most exciting play at any level of football is the interception return for a touchdown. Here he just battles the receiver. I want it more than you. He makes the interception, and now you have a bunch of offensive linemen trying to make tackles. They can't tackle him. He's making people miss left and right and almost gets this thing back for a touchdown.
And he nearly lost the ball. But what a play. And as soon as Texas Southern gets it back, here comes the Prairie View Panthers defensive unit dropping Bobby Reed for a loss of 6 yards. Leading the way, the All-America, Zachary East.
Oh, yeah, Zachary East, he's going to meet Bobby Reed early and often today. He's going to welcome him to the SWAC conference and the style of football that they play at this level.
2nd and 17 for the Tigers of Texas Southern. Trying to capitalize, pressure. He still completed a pass to Sanders, who gets down to the 20-yard line. They're trying to capitalize on DeMarcus Washington's interception.
Great play by Mark Spivey standing in the pocket, but this isn't fair. This guy's an All-American candidate, and I mean, you just can't let him walk in there and hit your quarterback without taking the shot. Good job by the freshman here, Ricky Sanders, making the catch and getting upfield.
14-yard pickup by Sanders, who has 3 receptions for 30 yards, a 10-yard average. Dad would be proud of that.
Absolutely.
Right, over the right side. He gets maybe 2 yards.
In the spot here, it may be enough for the first down, so he did a good job of fighting for that last extra inch. We'll see. They may have a measurement.
Quentin Spears.
No, first down. They give it to him.
Quentin Spears on the tackle for Prairie View A&M. This would be such a contrast to the opening of the first half when Prairie View A&M came down, dominated, scored every time down, and shut down Texas Southern offensively, which clearly looked off balance.
Yep, absolutely. Prairie View turning it around.
1st and 10. Right, left side. Touchdown! Texas Southern. 16 yards for the freshman from Dayton. And the Tigers are not ready to go away.
Now we have a ball game now, folks. The big freshman, they talked about him being the guy that really showed them a lot in camp. This guy's a freshman from Dayton, Ohio, recruited just to come down here and get a job, and he wins the starting job, his 2nd touchdown of the day, well, his 1st of the day, but he's had some very effective runs, just going downhill, running between the tackles.
The extra point is up and good. And it's 28-14, but Wright is limping off, has to be assisted to the bench. That may not be very good. When we return, this man you're familiar with, former HBCU star Jacoby Jones, he'll join us when we return to the Labor Day Classic in Houston. Welcome back to the Labor Day Classic. Prairie View A&M leading Texas Southern 28-14, but the Texas Southern Tigers have just scored, and they may have momentum on their side. 10:20 to go in the 3rd quarter, along with Eddie Robinson Jr. and a special guest, Jacoby Jones. I'm Dwayne Ballin. Jacoby Jones, Houston Texans, played at Lane College. You played for Johnny Cole, who is now trying to bring back the program and his alma mater. What do you think of that man and the job he may do there?
Johnny Cole is a man with great courage. I mean, he ain't gonna back down from nothing. So when he got a job up, he gonna go get it.
And this is a challenge for him too.
Oh,
but he
yeah,
did it at Lane. What did he do at Lane
Exactly.
that convinced you guys you could win?
The first thing he did, he came in and he had some discipline. Made their guys cut their hair off, clean shave. That's the first thing he did. And once he got the discipline going, everybody followed his footsteps.
Well, you're almost like a father figure, Johnny Coles is to you. I mean, how does that translate with you being here in town and you kind of mentoring guys like Bobby Reed? Are you kind of passing it on the things that he told you, trying to talk to some of his players to get their lives going in the right direction and being good football players?
Oh, yeah. Well, Johnny, when he came into Lane College, and he stepped up. He stepped up for me, and he knew I had no father. So when he came to me, he said, "I'm your daddy now, boy." And then when he first got to Texas Southern, he called me and told me, he said, "Man, hey, I need you to come down there and help me with these kids, get some camps going, and help out with my team." I said, "I got you, coach."
What do you see him doing in the short period of time he's been here that's made a difference?
Well, I see it in these guys. They start to believe in him. At first, when he came in, like I said, when he make them cut their hair, everybody like, "Man, what you mean cut my hair?" But I see these guys out on the sideline. They start to believe in the system. And that's one thing he do. He will say, believe in my system.
How do you handle a situation where you've got a young man like Bobby Reed, you were a player, a guy comes in from a heralded big-time program, and he only has 1 year, comes with a little bit of baggage maybe. As you as another player, what are you thinking? What do you want to see?
Well, I sat down with Bobby, and I told him, I said, man, think it through. You might want to stay another year and you can get better. So I see Bobby's a good quarterback, a great quarterback. He got good size, a good arm strength, and I mean, he got great potential. So I think he can make it to the next level.
Now, when you see the guys at Texas Southern and they see a guy like you around campus, you're playing with the Houston Texans now, but you come out of small school, Lane College. Do you think it inspires those guys to say, hey, just because I'm at a smaller school, Texas Southern, I can still play in the NFL and play at a real high level like you're doing?
All the time. That's why I go to school a lot, man. I tell them guys, man, look at me as a regular guy, man. I'm here to help y'all. And when I talk to them, I say, man, TSU is better than Lane College. Right. And I mean, Lane College, man, was a hole in the wall. You need a map question to find my school.
2nd and long for Prairie View A&M. And the Texas Southern defensive unit is beginning to respond. Now, here's you now in the NFL. What has Johnny Cole done? Does he help you with your game now? Do you talk to him?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, like early in my preseason, I had a little fumbling problem, but he said, talked to me, he said, man, go back to being yourself, man. Go back to Lane College, Jacoby Jones.
And so he's someone that's a confidant. You trust him. You understand that he knows your game and he knows you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he know me. He called me and he said, man, look. You ain't nobody can beat you but yourself. So I looked down, I sat down, and I prayed about it. And I said, man, I'm going back to Lane College, Jacoby Jones.
If you had a son who grew up and you had a choice of your son playing at one of the biggest schools in the country or playing for Johnny Cole, what would you do?
First class Johnny Cole.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. He runs a first class type of system, man.
You remember this?
Oh, yeah. Lane College, baby.
You guys look good in all that red.
This was last year. We were up there for Morehouse and Lane, but he did something at Lane that a lot of people didn't think was possible.
Oh, I mean, he came in there just like this team here at 0-11. We was 0-10. He came in, we went 0-10. He said, man, still believe in my system. I said, I'm around with you, coach. Next year, you turn us around with 8-3, best record in Lane College history.
So, Jacoby, tell me, what are some of your goals this year? I mean, of course, we know the Houston Texans, this is their year to make it to the playoffs. We know that. I live in Houston. I hear it all the time. But personally, what are some of the things that you want to set, that you've set for yourself to do this year as the Houston Texans?
Well, the first thing is I don't want to fumble the ball no more.
Okay, that's a good start. You make the team that way.
That's the first thing I don't want to do. But I want to contribute the best way I can on punt return and just to get us extra 10 yards. And if one break.
Well, your former coach's new team is beginning to get it going a little bit. They were really shaky early on, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, when I got to the game, I was rushing through traffic. I see the guy, I look at him there, I say, man, look, I'm on the sideline talking to him. I said, let's make plays. Make plays. Let it happen. Let it come to you. Make plays. Make plays.
Flag on that play. We'll wait and see what happens. How long does it take players who have been losing to buy in to what Johnny Cole is selling?
Well, honestly, I think they will work faster than us because when we got them, we came in camp. They had an actual spring with them, so I think they work a lot faster. I mean, I think they're picking it up right now in this game.
You expect, as we listen to the referee first for the official call?
Offside, number 95 on the defense. It'll be 5-yard penalty from the previous spot where we play third down.
That's against Darnell Reeves. So look into your crystal ball, Jacoby, and tell us what this Texas Southern team is going to do this year under Johnny Cole. They're quick to finish last now.
You know what? He's always the underdog, and he likes that type of stuff. And that's when he comes to prove people wrong. He might sneak up and be the Black College champions this year.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
I won't doubt him a bit.
3rd and 6 for Prairie View A&M, leading at 28-14. Spivey flushed out of the pocket, under pressure, and Jacoby called it. He's down.
Well, Jacoby, if you're going to be an announcer, you have to be impartial. You can't be cheering. You can't be cheering for one team.
That's right, folks. We just want to make clear there are 3 of us up here in the booth: Eddie Robinson Jr., Jacoby Jones, and Dwayne Ballin. And Eddie and Dwayne didn't clap just now.
But Texas Southern, I mean, that defense, they've really stepped up. I mean, it's a totally different team from the first half. That last 5 minutes of the second quarter and starting off in the third quarter has been all Texas Southern.
That James Peters sack forces Prairie View A&M to punt.
I will say number 2 is special.
William Osborne.
He's special.
You like him. He has the ball. He has speed.
He's special.
He breaks a tackle.
He's special.
He's at the 50.
Did I call it?
Said he was special.
Did I call it?
And he's corralled out of bounds. A flag on the play. There may be a call against Michael Jason.
I mean, I go to these guys' practices, man, and when I first day I went out there and I watched that kid, I said, Coach, what's that guy name? He said, man, his name is Junior. So every time I see him, I mess with him. I say, what's up, playmaker? He's going to make a play for me. That's when I went on the sideline. I just clapped my hands. Hey, playmaker. Hey, playmaker.
There he is. You like that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you call it this. Tell us what he's doing here.
Well, I can tell you right now, he got great vision. He's tucking the ball. What I need to be doing, he's accelerating.
Michael Jason gets the face mask, and he'll get called for that. It was a 46-yard return.
After this is to the goal line. First down.
And a 41-yard punt. So now, Bobby Reed and the Texas Southern Tigers, who appeared to be down and out early in the second quarter, have an opportunity to climb back into this one. They scored in the opening moments of the second half, and now they're knocking at the door once again, trailing 28-14. First down. Two-yard pickup. Marcus Wright, who scored for the Texas Southern Tigers on the opening plays of the second half, is not in the game right now. We saw him limp off.
Now, what do you think about Bobby Reed as far as his confidence as a player? I mean, you've been around him during the summer and now in the fall, and you can see, we know he has talent, but as a player, does he have that confidence level to perform at this level and make big plays like he was doing back at Oklahoma State?
Oh, yeah, man. I look at the guy when I talk to him, and I can tell by his swagger. I can tell by the swagger, man. The guy sits back in the pocket and throw the ball with ease. I watch him in practice how he just toss the ball around like it's nothing.
Well, it'll definitely be a great story. I mean, Bobby Reed in 06 was one of the best quarterbacks across the country. At 07, things fell off. So if he can get this thing turned back around in 08, I mean, he could benefit as far as his draft position potentially in the NFL and also Texas Southern at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus Wright has returned to the game, the aforementioned freshman running back. Under pressure is Reed, and down he goes. Courtesy Jamal Lavin. A loss of 10.
Yeah, he's made a couple plays earlier today, but in this one he's unblocked. It's just a protection error by Texas Southern, and you're going to have that. A lot of new players, sometimes the running back may step the wrong way, so you can't really fault Bobby Reed on that one when you have guys coming in unblocked, and just give Prairie View some credit for making some plays also.
You know, Jacoby, as we watch these young men, we're starting to see more and more players from small schools in the NFL. Does that make a difference? Why is that?
Well, I can tell you, it's a lot of talent in small schools. Small school is just a bunch of guys, man, who might have had the grades to make it on that next level, but who still has the push and drive to get to the next level in the NFL. So that's why they go looking for him.
Quentin Spears applying pressure to Bobby Reed. We are joined by Jacoby Jones of the Houston Texans here in the booth at the Labor Day Classic. Eddie Robinson, Dwayne Ballin, our entire ESPNU crew. Jacoby played for Johnny Cole at Lane College. Cole now in his first year at his alma mater, Texas Southern. And he has the Tigers looking for another score. 43-yard field goal attempt now coming from Robert Hirsch. Kick is up, and it is wide left. Well, Jacoby, we'd like to thank you for joining us.
Oh, I appreciate it. It was fun.
And I'm sure you'll pull Johnny Cole through this year.
Oh, yeah, I'm going back to coaching.
The Houston Texans might have a little to say about that. It's 28-14, 5:50 remaining in the third quarter of the Labor Day Classic in Houston, Texas. We'll return to Reliance Stadium after these messages.
On top of our best offer.
Back here in Houston, Prairie View A&M leading Johnny Cole's Texas Southern Tigers 28-14. Texas Southern with an opportunity to score, could not convert on that last series. College football continues on ESPNU Saturday night as the Florida A&M Rattlers take on the defending MEAC champion Delaware State Hornets. College football prime time on ESPNU Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Well, Eddie Robinson Jr., so far, Texas Southern is a different-looking team in this half. Now Johnny Cole has to figure out how to get it in the end zone.
Exactly. You just have to maintain that momentum. You've done some good things, put Prairie View on their heels. Now you have to capitalize.
Flags and whistles before the play can really commence.
They may have Texas Southern with one too many players as he tries to trot off and nobody sees him. That's always funny when the guy gets caught on the field.
Referee Hal Cooper is a pretty sharp bird. He's been around the block a couple of times.
Yeah. Actually, he was the referee when I was playing in the SWAC back in some years ago.
Very diplomatically done.
The day of the game penalty is declined because the band is playing and they could not choose. Band needs to be quiet.
Okay. Okay. Harold Cooper says the band needs to be quiet. I'd heed those words.
Well, they got 25 minutes for halftime, so now we have to play the football game.
Oh, boy. Eugene Robinson, our entire ESPNU crew, and Dwayne Ballin here in Houston, Texas at Reliance Stadium. The 24th Labor Day Classic, 62nd meeting overall between these two fine institutions. Mark Spivey, 7 for 12, 102 yards is the redshirt senior quarterback. Had an outstanding first half. Second half, it's been a little bit interesting. LT Holt has made a difference. Witness this play. Bit tougher there. James Peters has actually been coming to life. Number 50, the junior from Baltimore. He's been quite active in this second half.
Well, I tell you what, Texas Southern, their entire team is not short of talent. It's just a matter of guys gelling together, getting back into football form. Some guys are transferring from different schools, some young players, but these guys can play some football. LC Coles, and I can't say too much about him as a defensive coordinator type of things. You know, a former head coach to lead your defense like that, a very big advantage for Texas Southern's program.
5:10 remaining in the third quarter. It is 2nd and 4. Over the right side, great pursuit by the defense. And Donald Babers escapes out of bounds with his life. Boy, Texas, we can't overstate it. The Texas Southern defense with players like Matthew Valmore playing much better just looks totally different from those first 5 possessions.
I mean, Valmore is 260 pounds. Now, keep in mind that, I mean, this guy Babers isn't but 170. So you're talking about taking a good angle, and that's a lot of hustle. That's getting up on your giddy up to chase a little guy like that where he gains 2 yards on the sideline play. So that's big effort for Valmore. Made some big physical stops inside, but now shows his speed to the corner to keep up with a small guy also.
So it's 3rd and 3 for Prairie View A&M. 4 for 7 on third downs. Powering over the right side, close to the first down, is Babers, leading the way defensively for Texas Southern. Was Cameron Beck. And they pick up the first down.
Yeah, but I like what this Texas Southern defense is doing, and then really their entire team. When you're talking about a team that was 0-11 last year, a lot of transfers, new coach, you fall a 28-0 in your opening game, you can pretty much tuck it in and go home. But they came back and they fought back to get back into this football game.
Panthers now with the ball at the 37-yard line. There might be a loose ball down on the field. It was loose, but it was recovered quickly and alertly by Marion Allen. Or that's James Deco.
One thing I'm noticing from Texas Southern, they started off with a 3-man line. LC Coles is traditionally a guy that has 3-man line and 4 linebackers. Now they're switching to a 4-man line. You can see the linebackers are more at the point of attack. And so you have more guys in the box to stop that running game. And that ball was on the ground, and Prairie View was fortunate to get that recovery.
James Deckel recovering the Michael Jason fumble. 2nd and 8 for Prairie View A&M. Babers back and just beyond the original line of scrimmage, pickup of 2. DeJuan Fulham leading the way defensively for Texas Southern. You know, L.C. Coles and Johnny Coles, that's an interesting dynamic because now the younger brother is the head coach and the older brother is the assistant, when before it was reversed. Johnny was on L.C.'s staff.
Yeah, and a number of plays. I mean, they won the OVC at Tennessee State in that role, and also at Alabama State. So these guys have been together for a number of years, and Johnny has always been the understudy. So now Johnny is the head coach, and the older brother is the assistant.
36. Spivey will tuck it away and try to run, but he is stopped quickly by Fulham, who's really stepping up. And there's LC. And LC, we know the difference between head coach and the assistant coach. He doesn't have to shake hands and get headaches.
Exactly. I mean, basically they have the same roles because LC pretty much runs the defense. When he was the head coach, he ran the defense, and Johnny is the offensive guy, so he runs the offense. So they still have that exact same role. But now it's Johnny that has to go to all the meetings with the presidents and do the fundraisers.
Would that dynamic work as well if they were not brothers? Because still you have a head coach's mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're an assistant.
Yeah. But you can't have egos. You just have to want to win.
Shanked punt. And that's going to set up Texas Southern in pretty good field position. Pedro Ventura with a big mistake there. Can Johnny Cole's Tigers capitalize on it? We'll find out when we return to Houston.
Are you ready for the max?
28-14 here in Houston at the Labor Day Classic, a festive atmosphere as always. Zachary East, the All-American linebacker for Prairie View A&M, has been good as advertised. Eddie?
Yeah, and he's met Bobby Reed early and often. You can see here he got a big hit. I'm told him, hey, how you doing, Mr. Reed? Welcome to the SWAC. And now another player right here, corner across the middle, trying to throw to the tight end, not in the middle of my field. And you're not going to block me. I'll still force him out of the pocket and force a hurry. And once again, they don't block him. He goes up the middle and get a big hit on Bobby Reed. So I think at some point, Bobby Reed's going to have to tell his offensive lineman, keep an eye on number 7, please.
Outstanding defensive player. Very good student.
They're just a great kid and comes to the game with a mean attitude. You love that type of player. You don't have to get him motivated to play. He gets off the bus ready to hit somebody.
But off the field, Coach Frazier says he's a teddy bear.
Quiet guy. I mean, I live here in Houston. I stay in touch and I talk with Zach East quite often. And you would never think he has that type of mentality on Saturday afternoons.
Let's see what he and his defensive mates can do against Texas Southern. Excellent defensive play. Great pressure on the ball up front, and then great reaction by the secondary. Nice hitting by Edward Moore.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about Edward Moore. I went to Prairie View's camp, and he was actually demoted from first team to second team just because they felt like he wasn't having a really good camp. So the next day, he went out and jammed up all the receivers all day and just had a very physical day. And this guy is known as a big hitter. He was third on the team in tackles last year with 54 tackles. So that's from a corner spot. So that tells you what kind of hitter he is.
2nd and 10. From the 47-yard line. Reed on a screen, and it doesn't quite develop the way he wanted.
I'll tell you what, Zachary East was in the middle of that thing. And he saw the ball in the air, and he just went and just tried to jump and take everything out. So fortunate for Texas Southern that it didn't end up in his hands.
Bobby Reed might very well have nightmares about number 7.
If someone doesn't block him soon, he's gonna...
Texas Southern facing a 3rd down. The Tigers are 2 for 8 so far in that situation. They could use a score to maintain their momentum that they picked up late in the 2nd quarter. Reed on a rollout. He's going to keep it. Not going to get very far, though. Guess who was there?
Once again, number 7. But that was a good decision, actually. I mean, he didn't have anything downfield. You don't want to make – you're at the 50-yard line. Worst case scenario, you punt, you play the field position role. But when you're making this thing on the outside, look, you pull up inside and you look downfield, there's still nothing there. Now, your offensive lineman probably could have hit Zach East for you. He turned around, and by that time, Zach was gone. I mean, this guy could run to the football, and when he sees a guy in open field like that, he's going to try to get a hit on him.
6'2", 250 pounds. A self-admitted mama's boy. Of course, don't tell that to the opposing players. Flag down on the field. Call will be against Texas Southern.
You know, we've had some flags on the field, but this is the first game, and you have to realize these college athletes, they don't get the luxury of playing 4 preseason games to tune it up. So they're going straight from a scrimmage or 2 in the offseason right to the first game. So they're going to have those mistakes early on.
To Texas Southern. That is that second timeout.
So Texas Southern will talk about it. So there really was no flag on the play. You know, Texas Southern has had opportunities to cut even more into that margin, but haven't been able to quite get over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, you see they've had some picks here. Number 10, DeMarcus Washington, has both of the interceptions, and the second one just is a great play. Cornerback runs a square and right. He just breaks underneath and making it. Has a big return, and you think he's going to get something and can't score. And Osborne looks like he's going to break loose. When Jacoby Jones called this, he said he's a special kid, and he almost gets to the end zone like he needs one more big block, and they don't get it. But what happens is after they get those big returns, the offense comes into the game, and they're not converting that into touchdowns or into points.
Look at DeMarcus Washington. Takeaways, points off those. Prairie View A&M has been much more productive in capitalizing on the mistakes.
That's correct.
So now Texas Southern is punting away, and that will be a touchback. Ball at the 20-yard line for Prairie View A&M. For up-to-the-minute news for everything that is college sports, log on to ESPNU.com. This online service is a gateway to the best in college sports content from ESPN, combining the latest news, scores, features, video highlights, podcasts, and much more. If you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com, type in your zip code at the top of the page, or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Log on to ESPNU.com today.
Now, this exchange right here, Prairie View always comes onto the field, and their offense, they don't huddle. They go straight to the line of scrimmage. They've caught Texas Southern a couple of times not being set. It looks like the Tigers this time have come up to the line of scrimmage and matched them as far as getting ready in a timely manner.
We're in the final minute of the third quarter. 28-14, Prairie View A&M got up early on Texas Southern, and so far hasn't really looked back. Matthew Valmore once again involved in the tackle. Look at that yardage breakdown. Now Prairie View A&M total yards have just been dominant, and in penalty yards, which is something that Coach Frazier is not going to like at all.
Yeah, that gets you some early morning running the day after the game, and you get those many penalty yards, and just can't have that. When you're playing some good teams in this conference, you can't make those type of mistakes repeatedly. Keep shooting yourself in the foot. You won't win like that.
Marcus Spivey over to talk to Coach Henry Frazier. Coach Frazier said that things went so well in preseason. He was so impressed with Marcus Spivey, and that at one point he gave him the briefcase. Now the briefcase, during preseason practice, he would give out a briefcase to a player because that meant that they took care of business. So a number of briefcases went to Marcus Spivey, and he expects for Spivey to lead them to a championship this season.
This guy, when you look at him, he's a very smart kid. He's a tall kid, so just his stature alone promotes leadership, and the rest of the players really respond to him. He's a 6-year player. He had 2 red shirt and a medical red shirt, so he got an extra year back. So this guy's a little bit more mature than the average kid on campus. So, I mean, here's a guy who you can really look onto to lead your offense, and then he's a talented guy, too. You know, you need a leader who can also play well, and he does both of those things.
6'5", 180-pound player in graduate school. And this offense of Prairie View A&M, by the way, Coach Frazier told us it has a bit of a chip on its shoulder because coming into the season, everyone talked about this outstanding defense. And they wanted you to know we can play a little bit also. 2nd and 8. Spivey drops one off and has a receiver open. That's a first down. D'Amico Andrews, a 21-yard pickup.
I tell you what, well-used timeout by the Prairie View Panthers. Here you just see a miscommunication by Texas Southern because they don't have anyone carrying the flat area. So Spivey does a smart thing, finding an open receiver, and he gets upfield for a big gain.
Texas Southern, you sense, had an opportunity. Has that opportunity gotten away? We'll find out. We are now at the end of 3 quarters. It's 28-14. Marcus Spivey and the Prairie View A&M Panthers are on the march once again. The final quarter when we return to Houston.
The Southwestern Athletic.
Our broadcast partner has abandoned us, Eddie Robinson Jr. Jacoby Jones back on the sideline as an assistant coach to Johnny Cole.
Well, I mean, he's a big part of this Texas Southern program. I mean, because you can see he's trying to get these guys ready to play, and you have to respect the guy who comes from a small school. He's producing at a high level in the NFL, and he's just an ordinary guy. That's how he can really relate to these kids, because he's just on their level. I'm just an ordinary guy coming from a small school and want to do the same things that you're doing now.
Makes a huge difference for those young men to have an NFL player on that sideline. They listen. The ears perk up a little better when someone like that is telling you the wisdom. On the ground is Babers, who's had a pretty good night, over 100 yards.
Yeah, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Babers was the leading rusher last year. You wouldn't expect a guy that small to be able to tote the mail for as long as he has, but when he's bouncing to the outside, he really doesn't take a lot of hits. I mean, the guy is fast and very elusive, and he does a good job of keeping himself out of positions where he can take the brunt of those defensive blows.
Native of Houston. Pickup of 4, 2nd and 6 for the Panthers of Prairie View A&M. Leading at 28-14 here in Houston. Once again, it's Kamiko Andrews. Maybe he and Spivey have figured something out. Pickup of 12.
I like the way Spivey, when he's at his best, he's doing this right here. He gets the ball out of his hands, and he gives his receiver a chance to make a play. There, Kamiko Andrews is making the guy miss and getting up the field. But early on late in that second quarter, when Spivey started having trouble, threw a couple of interceptions, when he holds on to the ball for a very long time, he gets unsettled in his pocket. But when he has his mind made up, like I'm going to read 1 or read 2, he catches the ball, he releases it quick. He's very effective when he does those things.
Andrews taking a breather, a big target at 6'5", 220 pounds. The seniors from Miami. 1st and 10. Babers, right side, powering his way up close to the 37-yard line. And at the bottom of that pile is Matthew Valmore, who's really had a good game.
Yeah, very good game. He's done a good job of not only stopping the run inside, he's always also chased Babers down to the sideline. I mean, a couple of these guys, you look at like Fulham, DeJuan Fulham, DeMarcus Washington with the 2 interceptions. A lot of good players on this Texas Southern defense. Babers kind of limping off, maybe has a cramp or so, even though we're inside. It still can get humid in these dome stadiums sometimes.
Henry Frazier does not want to see that. He hopes that is the case, nothing more. 2nd and 6 for the Panthers. Out of the shotgun, Spivey under pressure, and down he goes.
Well-timed blitz. Very good call. I mean, what DeJuan Fulham did on that one, most times blitzers give it away. They try to blitz too early and the offense can pick it up. He timed it up perfectly. And once all of the offensive linemen got engaged with someone, then he comes free. No one is there to pick him up, maybe a blocking assignment. He does a great job of also making the tackle.
Loss of 6. Now 3rd down for Prairie View A&M. The Panthers are 5 of 9 in 3rd down positions. It's probably just a cramp. That's what it looks like.
I tell you what, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he has the right to get a cramp.
Let's see if his teammates can convert the 1st down while he's out. Out of the shotgun, once again under pressure. Nice screen. There are blockers, and there's a flag. There may have been a face mask.
Well, there was a harsh call by one of the big offensive linemen from Prairie View. I don't know if that's big Jesse Jones, and I think he has a couple penalties on his back already.
He does. He has 2.
I'm not going to try to jinx him and give this one to him also. We'll let referee Harold Cooper make the call.
Holding on the offense, number 66, 10 yards on the spot of the 5.
How much of that is fatigue?
Well, I think that's
just frustration.
That's a 2-point takedown right there. But some of it is when you're a big guy. I mean, you got to admit, this guy's 300 pounds. He ran 20 yards to make a block. And you hit those little guys, and they start moving out of your way. They try to dance and everything. You want to hit something. So if you can't hit them, you're going to grab them. I'm going to hit somebody. I ran 20 yards to make a hit. I'm going to hit somebody.
Well, let's hope this time he hits him within the confines of the rule.
Well, that's what Coach Frazier would like.
3rd and 18 for the Panthers, who lead at 28-14 here in Houston. Labor Day Classic. Little counter, misdirection. There's another flag on the play. Room to roll.
And another flag on the play. And a touchdown on the play. So we have to sort this out. You have some handkerchiefs down at the 50-yard line, another one down at the 25-yard line. So
that's the freshman, Michael Jason. But wait a minute. That 51 yards may not stand.
Holding on number 66. We got holding on number 1. The holding on number 1 is declined. We'll penalize the holding on number 66 from the spot of the foul. It'll be 10 yards back. Replay, 3rd down.
Poor Jesse Jones. Maybe Anthony Whedon didn't want him to feel so bad, so he helped him out with a hold there, but it was his infraction that still is going to cost him the 51-yard run by Jason.
Yeah, and you know what? I think some of it can be fatigue. You can see, yeah, that's a hold right there. So, I mean, the referees have to throw the flag. So you can't be upset about it if you Prairie View, your guys are holding, they get caught, you have to pay the price. But Jesse Jones, some of it probably is fatigue. When you're a big guy, you start leaning with your hands and not moving your feet as much to get in position, and because you're tired. So that's one of those things you have to work through, but you can't have those type of mistakes if you want to be a good team and compete for a conference championship.
I suspect Messer Jones will do a bit of running in practice on Monday.
Yeah, they'll probably tomorrow morning early.
Out of the backfield, not going very far, is the freshman Jason again. Reeves on the tackle. Jones, he's coming off the field. Well, big fella, we know you're tired. So he probably deserves a break.
Well, he probably doesn't want to run to that Prairie View sideline either.
He's going to avoid Coach Frazier.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
no way he's going to walk anywhere near him.
I wouldn't. I'd have kept my helmet on just to make sure I didn't get hollered at.
Punting unit on for the Panthers. Ventura didn't have a very nice punt the last time he was up. He shanked it. This one low and away, so Osborne will not have the opportunity to return it. When we come back, though, Texas Southern will have the ball. Can Bobby Reed get the Tigers going? It's lonely for the big fella tonight. Had to get close and feel loved. We'll be back in Houston after this.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky.
That's the trophy for the 24th annual Labor Day Classic. Prairie View A&M is positioned to take it home for the second straight year. 28-14, they lead the Texas Southern Tigers. See the future stars of football today when ESPNU delivers high school football action Friday night as the Armwood Hawks take on the Plant Panthers in a Sunshine State showdown. Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Nike on ESPNU Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. That should be a nice one. Those two teams are separated by about 10 miles west of Tampa. Johnny Cole trying to figure things out. Texas Southern's not out of this one yet, but time will become a factor soon. Have to capitalize on opportunities, though, something they haven't done with enough frequency.
That'll be the talk tomorrow morning if they don't win this football game.
So Bobby Reed and his offensive mates begin this series inside their 25. Reed tucking it away under pressure. It's amazing he was able to get out of bounds because there were a lot of dark jerseys all around him, led by Jamal Lavin. It was a loss of 1.
Yeah, Jamal Lavin, but ultimately it was Zachary East that's running him out of bounds. There must be a magnet on that number 7 attracting him to that number 1 jersey, because it seems like every time Bobby Reed gets out of the pocket, Zachary East is right there to stop him.
East will graduate in December. Great student, as we said, but that's not early enough for Bobby Reed.
And both of those guys prepped here in Houston. Of course, Bobby Reed went on to Oklahoma State and came back home, and Zachary East went to Jack Gates High School. So 2 local guys playing against each other.
Loss was called too. 2nd and 12. Has a man open, but he overthrows him. There was nothing between Osborne and the end zone but open air if he had put it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to overthrow William Osborne. He's a 200-meter SWAC champ in track, so this guy can run, and Jacoby Jones talked to us earlier that he's a special kid. Look at him. He's just going upfield, get a little holding, but that ball is thrown on target. That's a touchdown. That's a big play, and that's what they need.
He had Edward Moore beat. So now it's 3rd down for Texas Southern. Tigers have not had very good luck in 3rd down situations. 2 of 9 so far in the game. Bobby Reed didn't like what he saw. He wants to go over to Johnny Cole and talk about it. We're in Houston, Texas at the Labor Day Classic, the 24th annual, along with Eddie Robinson Jr., our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballard. Glad you decided to join us on what has been a busy college football Saturday up at the Big House. It's happened again. This time it's Utah pulling the upset, although Michigan's not ranked in preseason. Wolverines' 2nd straight season opener. How about East Carolina over Virginia Tech? And Joe Paterno matching Bobby Bout with the big win over Coastal Carolina. 373 career wins now at the top to match each other in the major Division I level.
I think that East Carolina game was probably the biggest upset, and that was a special teams play. I mean, the opening week, you're always going to have a couple teams lose because of special teams. Virginia Tech has a game in hand with 2 or 3 minutes left. They get the punt blocked in return for a touchdown, and they wind up losing the game at home.
And then Bowling Green upsets number 25 Pittsburgh at home, and they knocked them off, and it wasn't that close. Bowling Green dominated them, so it wasn't the greatest day for the ranked teams. But back to that East Carolina game for a moment. The Atlantic Coast Conference is not looking very good right now. North Carolina State on Thursday night was really blasted by South Carolina. Maryland didn't look particularly good against Delaware at home. Virginia Tech loses, and North Carolina is having a time with NC State. So it hasn't been the greatest of days. That was nearly picked off. But it's been tough for the ACC so far.
I mean, it's only the opening weekend, so things can turn around. But like you said, that's a very, very tough start for the whole conference. And here, Bobby Reed just throwing one kind of high. The receiver never looked to make a play on, and that's Anthony Beck that got 2 hands on the football, and that's one that he should have caught.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yep.
Things have settled down here now. Both offenses have stagnated a bit. First half belonged mostly to Prairie View A&M. Offensive unit looks so efficient. Then late in the 2nd quarter, early 3rd quarter, Texas Southern came back under pressure. And there are no flags down, although Solomon wanted them for Texas Southern. Guess who's coming back out on the field? Jesse in the game. 28-14, Prairie View leads it. We'll be back to Houston after this.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, yo, 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 oh no, you didn't. Sucker tried to play me, but you never paid me, never. Oh no, you didn't. Payback is a coming, you will be running forever. Oh no, you didn't. Until I get my vengeance, I will never end this mayhem. Oh no, you didn't. I'm a mercenary, you ain't got a prayer, you owe me.
Mercenaries 2, rated T for teen.
The kids have been wanting to go to the safari theme park since last summer. So we used our City Cash returns card to buy the tickets and stuff. It was great to get close to the animals, but not that close. Luckily, we used the cash we got back to help pay for some body work.
With your City Cash returns card, earn unlimited cash back and get it mailed to you automatically. Whatever your story is, your City Cash returns card can help you write it, because City never sleeps.
Every eHarmony match is based on compatibility. And now during our free communication weekend, you can communicate with your matches absolutely free. Free communication weekend happens this Friday through Monday only. Our special limited time offer is the perfect opportunity to meet new singles.
Anne-Marie and I both were like, I'm so excited when I saw your profile. I wanted to kind of get to that communication.
Log on today and communicate for free, only during this special free communication weekend. eHarmony.com.
We're back at Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. College football on ESPNU, the Labor Day Classic featuring Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern, couple of rivals, 10 minutes, 40 minutes apart here in Houston, along with Eddie Robinson Jr., our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballon. Wearing the purple are the Prairie View A&M Panthers, and the white, the Texas Southern Tigers. 28-14, 9:43 remaining in regulation. Mark Spivey and Bobby Reed, respectively, the quarterback comparison, is this what you expected to see, Eddie?
Well, you look at it, I mean, neither guy has really had a very exciting night. Spivey started off red hot, but he had the 2 interceptions after the blitz started to get to him. Bobby Reed settled down, started to do some really good things with the football, but now the game is just kind of mulling back and forth, and neither guy is being very effective from the quarterback spot. So we see if Spivey has his chance to make another big play from the offensive end for Prairie View.
He and the Panthers begin their offensive series at the 43-yard line. Donald Babers, who's over 100 yards for the evening, doesn't get very much there. Fulham, Valmore, Peters, number of Panthers are there to greet him. Number of Tigers, rather.
And I like this defense. I mean, Texas Southern, like I said earlier, they started off with the 50 front with the 3 linemen and the 4 linebackers, and they switched up. They started giving up a lot of running plays and blitzing out of that formation. So now they're going back to a 4-man front, and they seem to be a little bit more effective with that. Have the 4 guy with his hand down, and the linebackers very active, putting more people in the box to try to stop this running attack that Prairie View has brought to the ball game.
Pickup of 1. 2nd and 9. Spivey out of the shotgun. Whistles. And a timeout is called by Prairie View A&M. College football continues on ESPNU Thursday night as the Florida A&M Rattlers take on the defending MEAC champion Delaware State Hornets. College football primetime on ESPNU Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to espnu.com.
Florida A&M started their season off with a win over Alabama State today, so they'll go into that game 1-0, and the advantage to Delaware State is they haven't played a game this weekend, so that'll be their opening night game at home on a Thursday night. So to me, that's almost a setup game for Florida A&M when you're going on the road. They get their first game at home on a Thursday night with almost like a week off and more time to prepare. So we'll see how that works out.
It is Saturday 1 of college football, but never too early to start looking at polls. The Football Championship Series poll is formerly artist known Division I AA. Appalachian State, the 3-time reigning champion, getting blasted by LSU today, but this is the way it ended up last year. Back to action here at the Labor Day Classic. 8:56 remaining in regulation. Prairie View A&M on the march. That's the freshman, Michael Jason, bouncing outside. First down and a touchdown saving shove. A 22-yard pickup. And we have been waiting for that to happen all evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this guy has some speed. Coach Frazier talked about him taking a 50-yard screen in practice and just running away from everyone. And you can see the type of speed he has once he bounces around the corner. A bigger back than Donald Babers, but you have a Babers who's extremely fast and quick, and you come back with a Michael Jason who's a freshman. I mean, those two guys together can really wear down the defense because you come in with a guy with some fresh legs, and this Texas Southern defense has been playing the entire football game.
Matter of fact, he originally had 43 in preseason. Coach Frazier changed it to 34 because flags on the play, because he said that Jason reminded him of a famous 34 of Houston football lore, one Earl Campbell.
Yeah, and if you live anywhere in the state of Texas, there's only one number 34. I don't care who else wears that jersey, so that's a very high honor to even put that jersey on him.
Told us he thought Jason was really that talented.
Offside on the defense, number 44. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
That's against Dewan Fulham. Back to Jason. He's big, 5'11", 230, a 4.4 40. Originally was headed for UCLA. Injuries curtailed that. And Coach Frazier thinks he really has a find in him. He was really singing his praises to us. There he is again, off the right side. You know, you can tell he makes you pay when you make contact with him. Curtis Thomas got up a little slow after the initial hit on him.
Well, just look at his body lean. The guy just is always moving forward. Just a good athlete. You can tell the type of running back who has control over what he's doing. So just manages his body well, and gets in really good positions.
Donald Babers gets to sit out. He's put in quite a productive evening, over 100 yards. And he can watch the young freshman with those fresh legs you mentioned go at it for a little while. 2nd and 3 for Prairie View A&M, leading it 28-14. Right up the middle, and powering his way down close to a first down is Jason. He's stopped by William Parker. You think Babers might be done for the evening? 125 yards, 27 carries, a couple of scores.
Absolutely, especially if this drive ends in a touchdown for Prairie View. I mean, that's a very good day. 27 rushing. This guy isn't very big. For him to touch it that many times and have that type of success, and those 2 touchdowns, one he went over the top and hit the pylon, the other one he hit the corner and hit the pylon with the ball. So very effective running day for Babers. Showed a lot of speed and quickness.
Out rushing Texas Southern all by his lonesome. 1st and goal. Touchdown, the big freshman, Michael Jason.
That's a great 1-2 punch from Prairie View. You add those 2 running backs, also with the Spivey and the talent he has from running the spread offense, but Prairie View can really just get into an I formation and just run downhill, move people out of the way, and move the chains. And that's very dangerous when you have a team like that who also has a passing game and a big physical defense.
Friends, we are telling you, Coach Henry Frazier could not stop talking about this young man. We were visiting with him. He said this kid is special.
We're still on the trial.
And he has what it takes. Lower center of gravity, has speed, has power, gives a punch, takes a punch.
He'll definitely be a guy to watch this entire year for Prairie View as he starts to get more and more comfortable with the offense and gets more carries in game situations.
From Houston's Booker T, Washington High School. Extra point is up and good.
No good.
No good. First miss of the evening. Prairie View A&M leading it. We are in the 4th quarter, 34-14 at the Labor Day Classic.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a dog fan, Georgia dog fan. My brother's an Arkansas Razorback fan. Naturally, the dogs are better. But, you know, we have to bring them over to prove it every single time they play. Might as well have everybody else over, too. I am definitely the griller in the family. Must be good. I don't hear no talking over there. My thing is the grill. Anything grillable? See, they're clapping for me right now in the background. So they know I'm talking about being a grill master.
76 asked student filmmakers to give their spin on what makes our gasoline so great. Here's one of the scholarship-winning commercials.
When your car's engine is coated with grime, it messes up the whole planet. But you can clean it up with the gasoline specially formulated to clean fuel injectors in just 5 tanks, reduce emissions, and above all, help maximize mileage. 76, get the spirit.
Want to take RC to a whole other dimension? New from Airhogs. It's the Zero Gravity Wall Racer. It's designed for races in extreme places and defies gravity to race mess-free on the walls and upside down. Wall racers adhere using Vortex technology. Flip on the engine and they defy gravity. The 6-way controller allows you to make hairpin turns on the ground, the wall, and upside down. Race up to 4 at a time and challenge your friends. Design a new custom track every time with a reusable 26-piece clean racetrack and 12-piece obstacle set with mess-free removable pylons. On this special TV offer, you get the Zero Gravity Wall Racer with rechargeable battery, 6-way controller, 26-piece racetrack set, 12-piece obstacle course, and the Airhogs 10th Anniversary DVD. Race without a trace with the RC that's wall climbing and gravity defying for 2 payments of $19.95 plus shipping and handling.
You can call 1-800-882-9927 and race mess-free for 2 payments of $19.95 for a total of $39.90 plus $8.99 shipping and handling. You must be 18 or older to order.
Welcome back. Prairie View A&M leading Texas Southern 34-14. The freshman, Michael Jason, with that run. Sophomore, rather. I've been calling him a freshman. He's a sophomore. 8-yard touchdown run. He is someone to be reckoned with. Now, we didn't call Jesse Jones his name at all during that last drive. And you know why, Eddie? Because he did his job.
Absolutely. Kept his hands inside. I'm sure he got a tongue lashing on the sideline, but look at him here. Blocked down, moved the pile, scored a touchdown, no holding. So, hey, you're going to give a guy grief with all the yellow flags. You have to give him a little sugar also.
So Daddy and Mama Jones and Family Jones, things went well on that drive. He's in the middle of the group now. He didn't have to move over. No more being exercised. So he's all right now. He's back in the fold.
Yeah, he's back in the circle of love.
It was 5 plays, 43 yards, 8-yard run by Jason to give the Panthers a 34-14 lead. 6:48 remaining here in Houston. Along with Eddie Robinson Jr., our entire ESPNU crew, I'm Dwayne Ballard. And there's a sack by the Prairie View Panthers defensive unit. Loss of about 1. And leading the way on that was Joshua Mack.
Yeah, I didn't like that play. They faked it one way and tried to fool the Prairie View defense, but Joshua Mack, oh, I know, that was supposed to be a shuffle pass. I think the guy was coming underneath, was supposed to take that flip, but Joshua Mack was just standing there in front of the quarterback's place, in front of his face.
Loss of 5 on that. Reed now going to the air. Quick slant, but boy, these defenders for Prairie View A&M, and some of these are the younger players who are getting an opportunity to play now, are showing Coach Frazier that they want more playing time.
Absolutely.
They reacted quite well.
It's like blood in the water, and Zachary East, he's still out there. Hey, no gloves, no tape, no elbow pads, just an old school player who runs around and knocks the crap out of you every chance he gets.
Coach Frazier says he has very bad intentions when he arrives at the ball carrier.
It's a good way to put it. That's a mild way to put it.
3rd and 16. Reed out of the shotgun, under pressure, steps up out of the pocket, still being pursued, and he's dropped. Excellent pursuit on the play for Prairie View A&M. Lester Butler, sophomore from Baton Rouge.
And you can see the pressure. But once you get a quarterback like Bobby Reed, you keep him in the pocket, just keep coming. And this guy's a talent. Once he gets moving, he can do some things. That's why you catch him before he gets started. With 7 sacks on the day, I mean, Hayes Northern, the defensive coordinator for Prairie View A&M, hey, now he's going to start bringing the pressure. This guy is a blitz defense coordinator by nature. When you have a big lead, this is the time when you start dialing up all of those blitzes.
Stephon Solomon had better look out because they're probably coming at him. He gets it away. Anthony Whedon backpedaling, fields it at the 26-yard line, eludes a few tacklers, and gets down to the 24-yard line where he is stopped by Marcus Richardson, punt of 46 yards, return of 7. Coach Frazier, it's okay to smile. Your guys are looking pretty good right now. The rushing offense has done its job for you.
I mean, absolutely. You have to look at my guy here coming in for the score. Then you come back with Babers, who's bouncing out to the outside and finds the pylon going up over the top. Then he uses that speed, fakes inside, goes out. I'm the fastest guy to the end zone. I know where the pylon at. And finally, you come with the big sophomore, Michael Jason. Hey, no fair dodging. I'm coming right up the gut to give it 4 rushing touchdowns on the day. That's just a great job. And although Coach Frazier was a quarterback in high school, you look at me in college over at Bowie State. When he was at Bowie State and all his first 2 or 3 years here at Prairie View, he always had a run-oriented team. Run first, run first, run first. So also you see Spivey, they run the spread offense with all the cue passes. He's a running guy by nature. That's what he really wants to hang his hat on. He wants a tough physical team that can run the ball when they want to.
Henry Frazier has 22 starters back, we mentioned. 21 of those, though, have been with him their entire career. And Eugene, Eddie, he thinks that makes a big difference in getting a winning tradition going here.
Coming back with the run. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because you look at the way they turned this program around. They hadn't had a winning season in a very long time, but then in 2004, they start off 3-8. 2005, they're 5-6. 2006, they go back to 3-7, and bam, last year, things finally started to really click, and they go 7-3. So at that point, you have guys who now expect to win. If they would have beat Grambling last year, they would have been in the SWAC championship game. And Grambling is the only team in the SWAC that Coach Frazier hasn't beaten in his 4-year tenure here. So that's the team that they're really focusing on. But they've beaten all of the big guys around the conference, the Jackson States and the Alabama A&Ms.
2nd and 4 for Frazier's Panthers. Big sophomore Jason getting the bulk of the ball carrying now. Fulham with the stop. Prairie View A&M apparently on its way to victory. Start the season 1-0, second straight win in the Labor Day Classic. Texas Southern will start 0-1, extend that losing streak to 0-15. However, there have been some positive signs for Texas Southern that Johnny Cole can take away from this game. A lot to work on, but there have been some things that he can build upon.
I mean, they took a very hard punch in the mouth. I mean, their first play was the interception on their own 5-yard line. They
Which
were down
was really
7-0.
Maybe you question that call.
Right.
In that situation where they were opening play.
Unless it works.
Right. 3rd and 4. Jason over the right side, taking about 5 Texas Southern Tigers with him before he finally goes down. Once again, Fulham leading the way defensively.
That's the kind of guy that Johnny Coles is. I mean, he makes those type of razzle-dazzle calls in those type of situations. And you can't be scared as a coach. You can't look at the negatives of what could happen. You have to think, hey, if we catch Prairie View off balance by going with a throwback to the quarterback on the first play, it's a big play. The crowd is behind us, and everything's going to go that way. That's how you plan it. You can't coach scared, and that's how you have to play. You have to play aggressive and call the games aggressive. So maybe that was a call he may want back, but I think it was a good call at the time just to try to shake things up and get Prairie View off of his heels.
Jason once again on first down over the left side, pick up of about 7 on that play.
If you look at TSU, I mean, like we were talking earlier, just falling back 28-0. You know, you talk about a team that's always 0-11 last year and new coaching staff. They did a good job of fighting back to get into this football game. I mean, midway through the 3rd quarter, when Jacoby Jones was up here, it seemed like they were going to come back and win this thing. And even then, they had their chances. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone and convert on their big plays.
Next up for Johnny Cole's Tigers, a trip to Arkansas State. 2nd and 4, man in motion. Jason just bullying his way over the left side, and he's making those defenders pay for it every time. So you see one go flying every time he's in the area. That time it was Ezekiel Knight.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is what I call a closer. I mean, he comes in, he's like a Mariano Rivera. You just give him the ball, and he's just going to go fastball, straight downhill, no fair dodge, and he's going to finish the football game for you. And you like to have a guy like that sitting on the sideline after Babers has been running around in the beginning of the game. You give him the ball in the 4th quarter, he's just going to finish the game.
For Prairie View A&M, next up for them, a trip at Texas College. They'll be out of the SWAC for a while before getting back into it a few weeks later. 1:20 remaining in regulation. Prairie View's going to start taking a knee. Frazier's going to get this victory. We'd like to say we are in Southeast Texas, and we really do want to pass along our best to everyone who is in the path of Gustav. Please be careful, be safe. I know, partner, your family in New Orleans is out of New Orleans or headed towards you now. We wish everyone well. Look at Prairie View A&M's upcoming schedule.
Yeah, some good games there. Tennessee State, Texas College, out of the conference for a couple weeks, which is good. You get this conference win out of the way. You're 1-0 in the SWAC, and now you play some non-conference opponents that can gear up for your conference schedule. But yeah, the hurricane is definitely looming in everybody's head. I mean, I'm from New Orleans, and I live here in Houston, so I have a lot of family there driving here now. So, but just a great game, and did a good job here. I like this. Texas Southern played hard. Prairie View came out on top.
Well, Henry Frazier and Johnny Cole will meet at midfield. 34-14. Prairie View A&M wins the Labor Day Classic for the 2nd year in a row. But these two know that they will have some very interesting confrontations in the future, and it will not be one-sided. Johnny Cole will get Texas Southern going. Henry Frazier may very well be on to a very special year for Prairie View A&M. The defensive unit looks very good. The offense has a 1-2 punch in the backfield. Marcus Spivey, partner, they look pretty good.
Yeah, Prairie View, they're picked 3rd to finish in the West. Grambling State, Southern University, better watch out. The Panthers are good.
Once again, our final score, 34-14. Prairie View A&M winning the Labor Day Classic for the 2nd year in a row for Eddie Robinson Jr. and our entire ESPN crew. I'm Dwayne Ballin. Coming up next at Sports Center.